Alrighty, good afternoon, good evening, welcome to Train Sim Mod 6 and welcome to a new week of streaming, an interesting week of streaming due to some events taking place tomorrow, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that when the time comes, innit? For now, if I can fix this, there we go. Yeah, we are just going to continue with our Nürnberg Ingolstadt Journey Mode, going through the services we have left, which is 8. We've got 8 left to do. We are on the final chapter. Mix of, technically a mix of Munich's and ICE services, although it's not really a fair mix. Only 2 of those Munich services as opposed to 4 of those ICE ones. Lasagna, welcome, man. How are you doing? CP, welcome. Good to see you. How are you doing as well? Are you guys looking forward to what's coming tomorrow? Potentially, the news. Where on earth is it minus 10 degrees? In all of these ones, apparently, they all take place on the same day. Talking about same day and weather, let's get the weather annotations mods going as well, so we can have the realistic weather to look forwards to. Cool. And let's get cracking, man. ICE service to Nuremberg. Nice summer run. Hopefully some summer weather to reflect that. And let's get cracking. How have your weekends been, guys? Anyone been up to anything fun, exciting, different? I know Lasagna, the pictures you posted, so you had some events taking place. Coffee today with an arrival on the way. Eventful sounds about right from what I saw. Eventful definitely sounds about right. It's not a particularly sunny summer's day. Let's get the doors open. AFB on. Put that to 40 before we forget and end up in trouble. Headlights, gonna set them to normal. Everything else, I believe, is fine to remain as it is. I'm gonna set the brakes to 1B. Don't need to touch anything here. And we just wait. Sorry, I was trying to remember if there was like information that we input on the GSMR, like the training information, but I think I'm just thinking about the 101 and the cab car. You can't do that in the ICE, unfortunately. It would have been a nice touch. I don't think it would have cost much to implement that, considering, you know, the like the expert features. That was, I would imagine, let me say, that would be something fairly easy to add. So fairly quiet here at Ingolstadt. Busy. I don't know, would you call this busy? I don't really know. There's a fair bit going here. But in all the runs that I've done so far, which 20 plus now, I don't recall ever seeing like movement in these yards. Like the stock will be there, but never like any movement. And I also never realized that the ICE actually hangs off the platform. But thankfully, look at that, SDO. Something I didn't see anyone mention in any feedback that I've seen, whether it be on the forums, be it in a video, be it in chat. I can always appreciate when a a train has the SDO function, although I always wonder if I can really enjoy something like that, because in the back of my mind there's a question of, is there going to be an update to the game at some point that's going to break that? So yeah, I guess I'm happy with it as long as it's implemented correctly, and I will enjoy it while I can. Bit of a sad state of affairs, really, isn't it? It's like the game does something. The game does a cool thing, and it's like, yay, that's really cool. How long is it going to last? Nilvanus, good evening. How are you doing, sir? Welcome. Good to see you. I do love the smoothness and the peacefulness of the ICE. It just, like, I think the game does a fairly good job of translating that experience, that like smooth, high-speed experience to you. Right, up to 130, and then we just chill. You know, before we get to 130, I think we will get into LZB territory, and then from then it's just Zifa City. Tunnel, would you call this a tunnel route? There are some tunnels, one very long one or two very long ones. I don't know if I'd call it a tunnel route though, especially when in the game you can compare it to something like Castle Versberg. That's a tunnel route. That's a tunnel route. Not that I personally have an issue with it. Like I say so often, if it's like that in reality, then that's how I want it to be in the game. I don't want anything to be added or taken away from that experience. So I'm not super mad. Like, even for example, if you've got something like the Channel Tunnel, like obviously there's some... Well, the fact that you're just in a tunnel for a very, very, very long time. And yes, I think the experience will be quite boring after the first 4 or 5 runs. But if I'm playing that route, if I'm chosen, okay, today I'm going to simulate being a train driver of a channel tunnel service, then that's what comes with it. You know, like that's what I've signed up for. Now, talking of freight movement, really? I have seen some movement around here, but not much. And right now, there's not much. I just realized we're taking this service at very, very, very early time. Very early time. Yes, they are. They are. And the very, 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 very few videos that I've seen of them. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I was saying earlier that the game does a good job of translating that. Because that's what it's not always easy to translate an experience, to simulate an experience. Like, you could simulate a train, how it sounds, obviously how it looks, and potentially do a good job of simulating how a train drives. But the experience is something that, you know, yeah, I don't know, and I don't think that's limited to TSW. I think in general, like even Microsoft Flight Sim, for example, I wonder if you were to like use one of the mods where the passenger area, the passenger compartment is like well detailed, and you can have like a camera view set as if you're a passenger. If you were to just like do that and stay in that view and just sort of pretend you're a passenger, basically, does it give you that weird trippy feeling of like being able to trick your mind into thinking that's reality or thinking that you're there, if that makes sense? It's not like completely easy to do. like for example, in this game, the Bakerloo. I'll get into that in a second, actually. But the Barking Riverside to Gospel Oak overground line, that's what I've ridden so many times as a passenger, so many times, and the train's done incredibly well. The sounds are really, really well done. The details inside the train, like the screens and everything, incredible. But I just don't feel like I'm there, if that makes sense. Everything's done really well. That's one of the best routes in the game for me. Well, top 10. It's top 10. But it just, I can't trick my mind into thinking I'm there. Whereas, at least from the videos that I've seen, I can line it up perfectly. It lines up perfectly in my mind with the videos that I've seen. And so when I think to those videos, it's almost like in my brain I can merge this with those videos and get to a point of almost like confusing my brain a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense. But I think ultimately, if you're playing the sim, that's the experience that you're chasing. You want to get to that point of tricking your mind or making your mind ask questions. I don't know exactly which building is the Audi factory in Ilvenus. Maybe I should have asked. But I don't trust leaving my trains unattended when I'm in the 8 camp for too long. I'm thankful that this one will alert you if you need to, acknowledge something from the outside camera. But not all the trains are like that. Not all trains are like that, thank you. So, yeah. Let's put the whole thing in. Oh, no, that's alright. Thank you. Noodles. The very spicy type. Very spicy type. These are, in my opinion, as spicy as the Boldak noodles, the black packet. Doesn't quite reach the red packet of Boldak levels. But at that point, how enjoyable is it? I'm someone who very much loves my spice. Love my spice. But bro, those noodles, the red packet, the Boldak red packet, it's more of an experience, it's more of an experience. It's not dinner, it's not a snack, it's not just, oh yeah, time to eat, it's different, man. It's different. And the only time I've had them was at work on my break. Ilvenus, I don't know. Number one, I don't know if that notification comes from Steam or if it comes from the PlayStation app, because I have the PlayStation app that allows you to use the software, but for some reason, somehow, the battery is always low. I don't understand. I don't know whether I've broken the controller, because I've dropped it a few times, so I don't know if something happened to the controller after I've dropped it, so that the battery either has an issue or it reads out an issue. The Wi-Fi doesn't work. Not Wi-Fi, sorry, Bluetooth for the controller, which is it really annoys me, because it used to work. It used to work fine, and I don't know whether a Windows update broke it. I don't know if I broke the controller and it doesn't work well for in Bluetooth mode. I don't know what it is, but it will connect for 2-3 seconds and then it will disconnect. And I've Googled and Googled and Googled for a fix, because it's so annoying having to use it with a wire all the time, and I just can't find a solution. I believe this service on the left, I think, is the first Munich service of the day on the timetable. Because I'm trying to remember, I've done the first service of the day, and I'm pretty sure it was 5 something. And leaving Munich, it would have left Munich, if it's there now, very close to 5-ish. So I think that's the first service. We have an error of some sort, although nothing is showing up on the screen, so I don't know what the Störung sound is for. So I'm just going to ignore it. I'm not going to ignore it. We have no power. Okay, I just needed to reset the power. I don't know what tripped that. Though I have been seeing a lot of people having like random weird issues on this route with these trains. And going back to like what I was touching on at the beginning, it's so sad and annoying, frustrating at the same time that you don't know what's a bug and what's not. Like, so much goes wrong in this game. There's a blur. Something looks like a bug and it could be a feature. Something looks like a feature and it could be a bug. Yeah, no, I saw it, Novin. I saw the notification. And another thing is it shows up randomly. So the cable, my controller, has been connected. I'm not using it right now. I'm using keyboard. But the controller's been connected to my PC since I turned it on. It's always connected. So, if anything, the battery should have gone up. Yeah, I don't know. No idea. Els, good to see you, my man. How you doing, bro? How was your weekend? Hello, Adrian. How you doing? I remember you. Good to see you again, mate. Thank you very much for that watchtower once again. Yeah, much appreciated. I think that was like the last one in Michigan that we needed to get. So yeah, many thanks, man. This week 100% we're finishing up Michigan. I know I said that last time, but I severely underestimated. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm not going to say anything because I just remembered how much you have to do for the last contract. So I'm not even going to say with 100% certainty that we are going to complete Michigan, because we'll see how it goes. We've got 6 hours this week. Surely in 6 hours with 4 people we finish it, surely. But we shall see. We shall see. Spent working, bro, last night. Tonight asked me for a shoot off. What do you mean the shoot off to my hometown? What's my hometown? I thought you reside in London, no? Good for you as well last night tonight, man. Hopefully it's a quiet one, bro. It's a Monday after all. But God knows, man, there was a fire earlier. I was at work today. I did an overtime shift. Dead early. And this morning I heard there was like a line side fire somewhere over the radio. I don't even think it was London Underground related. I think it was Greater Anglia, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not quite sure on a Monday morning why there was a fire, but I mean, it can happen at any time, but I don't know, I feel like there are certain times of day or days of the week where, I don't know, the fire is more likely. I'm Moroccan. Come play with me while I'm on holiday. Oh, no worries, agent. No worries, man. We'll get the job done. I love this, by the way. This actually looks like an early morning, like sunrise. I can't explain it. This just looks like when we used to drive to Morocco and then we'd stop in like France and then the sun's just coming up. It's like 5-ish, 4-ish, 5-ish, 6-ish in the morning. Fair enough. The game does surprise me sometimes with how well it can look with no mods. The only mod I'm using is the God mode. That's the only one, and obviously the weather. And for a lot of the time, it's the weather mod to thank for like how certain things come together. But this is a summer's morning for sure. feel like we'll be able to finish it. Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. I hope so. I hope so. I've learned that with SnowRunner, sometimes the game has its, the game makes its own decisions. Sometimes, so you know, I'm going to respect that. I'm going to be humble and just say, look, we'll go at it. We've got 6 hours this week to finish up. We'll try. We'll work together as one unit and see how far we get. First ICE from Munich is a part of 2003. Interesting. I think in the game though, if I remember correctly, in the game the first service is around 5. I'll double check. Maybe it's 4 something. But I don't recall seeing 3. That's another thing as well. I don't know these days whether routes have the full real life timetable with the stock that we have. Because once upon a time, I used to just expect that if whatever timetable we have in the game on a route is the real timetable. But I think there have been many instances of that not being the case, which really blows, to be honest. Because that's one of the things that I would expect to be on point every time. I want the real life working timetable. Oh yes, Els. My family specifically are from Tangier, up north, but I highly doubt that's where you're going. You're going to tell me either Marrakesh, or you're going to... Oh, when the spice hits your throat. Ooh. God damn. You're either going to tell me Marrakesh or Agadir. BST, agent, I put a little note at the bottom of the schedule saying the time zone, so always check that, because when the UK moves from BST back to GMT, I'm going to change that as well, so just keep an eye on that. Swear to God you're going to Tangier. On God you're going to Tangier. You know what's crazy about these noodles? I ordered them. They came on Saturday, and I had one for the first time on Saturday. The spice knocked my shoes off. I finished it, but I was like, oh my lord, whoa. You know? And then every time I've had it since then, it's been okay. Like, it's very, I can feel it. I can feel that it's spicy, but it's like I'm okay. I'm not dying until the thing hits your throat in that particular spot. I'm good. I find that very weird. My tolerance just like automatically went up. Oh, Els, bro. 24th of end of August, bro. I can't. You've banged it, bro. You went to the best city at the best time, because July, August, my brother, you don't have room to breathe. You don't have room to breathe. The city's so packed. Let me know where you're staying, and I'll tell you like where to go and what to look out for and stuff. You are the first person to tell me you're going to Morocco and you're going to Tangier. Anyone that tells me to go to Morocco, it's always Marrakesh or Agadir. And I'm always like, bro, Tangier is super modern. You're going to see some banging cars, because there's summertime in Tangier, some people flex. So you're going to see banging whips, good vibes, good people. I haven't been there in 4 years, I think now, 3 or 4 years, but I doubt too much has changed, in all honesty. You got beaches, obviously. The mistake people make when they go to Marrakesh, there's no beaches there. So number one, well, you can't go to a beach. Number two, there's no breeze that comes from like the ocean. So when it gets hot, you can't escape it. At least in Tangier, it can get hot, but you can survive. There's a colleague at work who went to Marrakesh recently, and they were saying it got to 47 degrees Celsius. 47 degrees Celsius with no breeze. Yeah, you're done. I know that I won't lie. The sun hits different there. It's not like the UK sun. It's nice, enjoyable heat, but it does get to a point where it's like, okay, this is a bit much. It's safe. It's safe. Like, I don't think you'll be getting up to anything like odd. Especially if you stay on the mains, like by the coast, in the city, and like the touristy places. Sorry, like Old City, for example. There's a place called Old City, which is basically what it sounds like, but it's like this particular area. It's quite a big size where they got a lot of markets and all these like different shops and stuff. Hey, hey, hey. I'm gonna tell you something with this information do's you-ish, innit? My sister got me a rollie from there, yeah, from one of the markets, yeah. The weight, it's like heavy on the wrist. It's like heavy on. Listen to what I'm saying. It's like heavy on the wrist, yeah. The thing wasn't ticking. It was going, yeah. And for me to operate it, I had to look at the official Rolex website. So I'm just saying, innit? I'm just saying my experience. I had a nice little sighting for the wrist. So yeah, but it was like 70 quid, I think. So it was quite pricey. But yeah, just saying, innit? If you're a watch guy, you can experiment. You get me? But yeah, it's good, bro. The markets are good stuff. Are good fun as well. Yeah, bro. It's live, man. It's live. Thing is, it's tough for me from here to like. I can't navigate you when you're dead. You get. If I was there with you, yeah, you haven't. It's lit. You get. I can take you to all the places, but I can't pilot you from here. Do you get? So I'm assuming you got a hotel and you're going to be staying around the hotel, unless you already got places in mind that you're going to, or that you want to visit. For example, is it a hotel or is it an Airbnb? You didn't like Marrakesh, is it? Why not? What was your experience of it like? Because I won't lie, everyone that goes there has nothing but praise for it. Oh, bro, what? Okay, so you're gonna be there with people of the land. Then you're good. Because that's another thing I always say to people: if you can go with someone Moroccan, go, because yes, you will have fun just staying at a hotel and hanging around the hotel and doing the generic touristy stuff. But if you can go with a Moroccan, go with a Moroccan, bro. That's always my advice. Yeah, you've smashed it, bro. You've ticked all the boxes. You're gonna have a blast, bro. I'm gassed for you. If they've got a whip there, 11 out of 10. 11 out of 10 if they've got a whip. I would say, for me, getting a whip is crucial because there's more in the outer skirts of the city to see and to like genuinely enjoy, and like places like Hercules Cave, for example. You're not, yeah, you can get there with a cab, but a whip is just vibes, man. It's just vibes. You gotta be a driver, though. I'm not gonna lie. You gotta be a driver because yeah, the driving in Morocco is not It's not for the weak. But it's worth it in my opinion. I won't even lie. There's a theme park as well there. Theme park is lit. Don't go on the banana boat. Don't go on the banana boat. You'll fall off, bro. Don't go on the banana boat in the theme park. Gee, I almost lost my life. I'll never forget it. I almost lost my life. One of the closest times I've come to losing my life, man. No cap. Went outside the hotel once. When I went, I just didn't like it. Fair enough. You know what? You might like really like Tangier then in that case. Yeah, that's the only thing, man. Like they will. That's another thing, bro. You will get taken advantage of as a tourist. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna lie. You will get taken advantage of, and that man play mind games as well with you. So it's not even. You're not gonna go there thinking, "Ha, yeah, like I'm ready for it," and then actually come out on top. It's mind games. So when you go there with a Moroccan that actually speaks the language, the dialect, it's like okay. But it's rough because I speak the dialect, but they clock onto me. So yeah, the man are smart, man. I won't even lie, but you gotta haggle. I won't like haggle, man. Don't accept the price that you're given initially. Haggle. Oh, I missed these two services. Got 2 ICE services on this chapter. So I thought we finished this because I saw the green tick. Okay, let's do these as well. But you know what? I'm gonna switch it up. We did an ICE service, so let's do a Munich service. He's never got anything called the banana. Oh, stop it. You have some conversations I think you need to have with yourself. Like when you say that, are you being true to yourself? You know? But basically, the roller coaster there as well. I almost lost my life twice. But the banana boat, you're only strapped. The bar only goes over your thigh. But the way the thing, so it just goes up and down and woo. That's what it does. But it goes woo. You get it? It's not just like, oh, nah, it levels. So I had to, the bench is like, there's like benches of seating. I had to get my feet underneath the bench in the front and use it as a grip. I can't explain it. I had to use it to hold myself because my bum started lifting. I was gonna fall. I was gonna die, bro. I was gonna fall and die off that ride. I was going to fall and die off that ride. I had to cement my feet underneath the bench in front, or I was gonna fall. It was nuts. It was nuts. People were crying. No cap. People were crying. It was it was an interesting experience. So yeah, man. But do it. That's life. Life is thrills. You get like to make it a memorable experience. It's got to be a thrill. So I'll do it actually. You might die, bro, but that's the only way you'll remember it for the rest of your life, you know.
Schließvorgang eingeleitet.
Bro, when you feel like you're gonna die, I don't know, it does something, man. Those rides where you feel like you're very close to death, they do something to you, man. They fulfill like a very specific itch. I took a roller coaster. I say a roller coaster. It's like a roller coaster type of ride. But that one in Tangier, bro, you're cooked. But I took one in Brighton when I went to Brighton a few months ago. Oh, we're gonna get Sifa. It's Wong Brim Sung. I wasn't even paying attention. But the one I took in Brighton, yeah, that one goes over the sea. Part of it goes over the water. And the way that was throwing you around the corners, it was a mad thing. It was a mad thing. So, but like I said, it just hits different. Like the Rise in Thorpe Park didn't give me that, oh, I could actually die here kind of vibe. So I don't remember those rides as much. Sometimes you just gotta seek the thrill, you know? And don't let the thrill seek you. Well, if you do take the roller coaster of death and don't come back from it, then I can do that in honor. Give you the green, green sword in memory and out of respect. But if you don't die, then I can't give it to you. I think that's fair. I think that's valid. First person to tell me they're going to be going to Morocco and you're not going to Marrakesh or Agadir. I won't lie. The reason a lot of men them go Agadir, it's crazy still. It's crazy. I did a fairly decent couple runs on these services off stream, where I actually stopped at Ingolstadt Nord smoothly and in the right place. We'll see how it goes today. I think I'm going to start preparing early. The only thrilling thing I want to do, I'll probably say, is surf. All the other dumb stuff like roller coaster jumping up phase is not for me. Yeah, fair enough. Surfing though, that's between you and God, man. That's between you and God. Because the waters that are right for surfing, I was watching a video that came up on my TikTok today, and it's that popular place in Portugal. I don't know if you know the name, CP, Nizare or something like that. And it's a popular spot for people to go surfing. The waves are as tall as mountains, bro. The waves are as tall as mountains. So, you know, each of their own in it. But for me, deep water, I don't have that like irrational fear of deep water, but I'm very conscious of it and the dangers of it. And I'll say, yeah, if I do ever try that, it will be in fairly shallow waters. But I understand that I won't be getting the full experience. Oh, that was smooth. Nice. Didn't quite get 2 meters, but close enough. Set the brakes to 1B. Bodyboarding is calm. You don't need crazy waves to do that, isn't it? I can swim, yeah. I may not be able to swim like an athlete, but I can swim. I'm really happy I can float because I don't remember if I closed the doors or not. Yeah. Because I used to people used to try and teach me how to float when I was younger, and my body couldn't do it. My body would just start going down. Not like floating, I mean just like staying in one place and not drowning. My body just didn't know how to do it. I didn't know I'm following what people are telling me, and I just can't do it. And then I think similar to like downshifting a manual in sim racing, I just did it. I just started doing it. I don't know how I learned it, but I just did it. So that is probably also not something I do in the best way, but I can do it. When I say the best way, really, I think I just mean in a way that's like the most efficient, where you're using like as little energy as possible, which you do want to learn. That's something you do want to know in life. You just never know when you'll end up in a situation, you know, and that could save your life. Yeah, but I think if you're gonna do tricks as you know, while you serve, I think at that point surfing is more or less your profession. But I think if you're just going to do it for a bit of fun, I don't think I'll really be worried about doing tricks. You won't be surfing in Morocco, I'll tell you that much. I'm telling you though, man, a lot of the most beautiful places are reachable by car. What I will tell you, bro, Els, listen to me please, bro. Listen to me very carefully and listen to me very well. Do not take the minibuses anywhere. The Sprinter vans, the Mercedes Sprinter vans. Don't take them. No matter how cheap they are, no matter what they promise you, bro, don't take them vans, bro. Please, don't take them vans anywhere. Because the way them man drive, you know what? If you want adrenaline pumping with a real risk of your life no longer being yours, go ahead, do it. Otherwise, avoid them at all costs, because them man drive like nutters. And I'll never forget taking one to see some family I've got on the outskirts, and on like mountain roads, it's a big sprint, the long Sprinters, Mercedes Sprinter minibus. Guy just overtaking around blind turns, speeding. Oh my lord. And where I live, there's like a small road where I live, like a side road, and it's on a hill, so you can't see what's coming. These man rip through at like 50-60 miles an hour. They just go like flashing their lights and sounding their horns, and it's like if you don't hear them coming, you getting blown into a million pieces. It's on you. That's the logic. If Els is ready to hear that, I'm gonna have to tell that to him privately. That's like a genuine warning. That's a genuine warning. But yeah, anyone that's watching who's not on the Discord, tomorrow's going to be a request a route stream, so feel free to come and request routes. It'll be going from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Then at 9 p.m. we'll watch the Dovetail Direct together, and we'll react to it, and then we can chill for a bit afterwards, discussing what we see in the Dovetail Direct. But I will say, it's worth watching. It's worth watching. job done. I don't want anyone to ever deny my spice abilities. I got coffee here, but I think it can wait. I'm a bit upset that I didn't know you could change the cab car throttle lever behavior, because how I've been using it up until like this weekend was I hold A or on the controller R2 until it shows up, and then have to quick tap, like really quickly tap it again for it to then move into the second type of acceleration. But I was having a look at the computer on in the cab, and I was thinking, hold on a second, I haven't really explored this before. So I was actually going through everything one by one. But then I saw throttle behavior. And lo and behold, it was what I've been needing this whole time. I honestly feel like it hasn't been advertised. Like I've never heard. Maybe I missed it in the preview stream, because I don't really watch preview. I didn't used to watch preview streams for a long time. I didn't watch any. So maybe it was mentioned in one. But I know it wasn't mentioned in the preview stream for this route. But I'm very happy with that feature. Very happy. It's also a behavior that I'd like to implement, like the two-stage behavior. Something I want to implement in my controller as well, if I can. I do appreciate the AFB being like a braking guide. I also just appreciate LZB in general, especially the you don't have to worry about PZB part. Like I can see something in yellow on a signal cluster and just not be concerned about it. Interesting that we've got a green signal at the end of this. Usually in all of these stops there's a red, because the dispatcher doesn't know whether it will be letting an ICE through or if it will let you through. So it's interesting that somehow it knows 100% that it's me that it's going to let through. Is it because there won't be any ICEs for a while? I don't really know how this dispatcher works. It'd be really nice if, like what SES do sometimes with their games, like their Under the Hood series, it'd be really nice if like certain parts of the game Dovetail wrote like articles about, because I'd love to know more about the dispatcher. We hear about its bad qualities, I think, most of the time, but I'd actually like to hear and understand how it works and like what makes it work as well as it does, you know, when it does work well. And also understand like the struggles as well, you know, like why does it struggle with, like, for example, the idea of dynamically pathing trains, you know? It does do that sometimes under certain conditions, like if you leave a station really late and you share a path with many trains, then it can sometimes, if you're not moving for a while, it can change your signal back to red and then let another train through. So it can be dynamic to a certain extent, but it just seems very, very limited. Interesting. Did the doors close by themselves? This isn't the first time I've encountered that happening. I think it happened on the last stream. I don't know whether it's anything to do with the virtual conductor. I don't think so, because I've only unlocked that feature. Not unlocked it, but I've only started using it, I think, over the weekend. What information is this like meant to give you exactly? Okay, it does give you train information. Because every time I go past it, I just happen to just see the time and date. But I don't see any train information. And I think to myself, there's only so much information you can fit on that small screen as well. I wonder if they do use it for train information. Turns out they do. But you have to be very patient to read what's scrolling through. I think I've settled on no more mods until post Dovetail Direct. Because, you know, if there is something coming, then I just don't want to keep doing this back and forth. I also am yet unsure as to how I will be approaching mods. I think the reason why I will become clearer maybe tomorrow. I just don't know whether using mods from however many years ago in the TSW2 era is still viable or not. CP, have you ever surfed? If you're still around. say that that spice has really set my nose off. Can't go wrong. Just with orange flavored chocolate in general. I used to hate the idea of like a fruity chocolate. It didn't really make sense to me. And then I was converted. Terry's chocolate orange, absolute quality. If you guys are watching from outside of the UK and you have like those stores that sell like international foods, if they have like snacks like chocolate and stuff and they have Terry's chocolate orange blue packet, go for it. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's everything you know, it's everything you ever wanted. Hello my man Tim, how you doing, boss? Good to see you, man. How's your weekend? Well, it's not orange with chocolate, is it? Orange with chocolate would indeed be quite vile. This is chocolate orange, or orange flavored chocolate. Different. Same but very different. Very different. I'll tell you what I don't get. Minty chocolate. The idea of minty chocolate is vile. The taste of minty chocolate is vile. This is something I've actually tried and verified myself. It isn't one of those things where I'm thinking to myself, oh, the idea of minty chocolate is vile. No, minty chocolate is vile. The idea of minty ice cream is vile. Please, let's save the mint for toothpaste, mouthwash, you know, minty, certain things that make sense. You know, the mints to freshen up your breath. There's no need to mix chocolate and mints. Like what we're doing, chili as well, chili and chocolate. I've seen like spicy sweets, like jelly, like Haribo type of sweets. Chili, like spicy. Well, what are we doing, man? How far will humanity experiment? Ah, lasagna. You let me down, man. I will say After 8 is quite a posh brand of chocolate. I think even the way you're meant to enjoy it is quite posh as well. But nah, man, not for me. Not for me at all. Tim. You're starting the week off with some abominable opinions. It's only a Monday. And you're just telling me some mad stuff. Let's let the week like marinate a little bit. And then we can go into, you know, oddities. Hello, Mr. Dan. So are you implying that the Mr. jokes are work for you? That they take effort? That you don't just do it out of the joy of your heart? Is that the implication here, Dan? That's not a Mr. joke. How? You're off for the week. I ain't. And you said the jokes are off because you're off. So all I'm hearing is like, you know, it takes work to have fun here. That's just what it's sounding like to me. But no, the Mr. jokes have to be relevant to a topic. You know? I am nitpicky. You're not wrong. But no, that's low effort because you think, because you're off, the Mr. jokes stop. I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that at all. But no, this must be a glorious feeling. It's the first day of the week that you're off. The first day. You've got a whole week ahead of you of rest, of bliss, of joy, of peace, being away from work, being away from everyone there, being away from stress, being away from being annoyed, being away from numbnuts. This must be a glorious feeling. Yeah, see? There you go. You're getting back into the swing of it. One bad game day, maybe recovering from a flu, but you're back on it, man. You're back on form. I love it. Talking of that, I want to do what's fantasy. Oh, fantasy Premier. I need to watch Match of the Day today. Can someone remind me at the end of the stream to watch Match of the Day? I've had a very busy week and I've had 5 hours of sleep since Saturday. Since Saturday morning. I actually was napping today and I woke up. Well, I set my alarm for half an hour before the stream started. And then I think I fell back asleep. And then my wife woke me up like 3 minutes before the stream was going to start. Hence the slight delay. Because after that, my TV wouldn't turn on. So yeah, that was fun to deal with, having already been late to the stream. Or not late, but it made me late. I had to unplug it and plug it back in. Also, I don't think you can be on time for these services. It's the problem with like AI set times. Although I'm seeing a solid time, I'm assuming that's a coincidence. There was an update today, actually. What was the update? I'm gonna have a look, see if I can find any information on the update. It's like 176 megabytes, so not exactly like light. Obviously, it was in a heavy one at the same time. Yeah, there we go. Announcement, update notes. Oh wow, I'm really going too fast. I didn't notice that. Anyway, I'll let the train slow me down. Okay, so this route was touched up in the update. Fix an issue with the route introduction to remove the reference to Leipzig. Fix an issue with wobbling wheels, which was just embarrassing to be honest. Okay, the brakes should be releasing now. We did a bit too much, Mr. Train. That was a bit too much braking. I don't think you were meant to brake us that hard for that long. And then Thames Valley also had some touches, a lot more actually. Remove the real world telephone number from sign. I remember someone making a lot of noise about that on the forum. Anyway, fix an issue with floating assets throughout the route. Fix several clipping assets. Fix missing player collision. Basically all the things that people were talking about and complaining about, which they were right to. Though the question remains why they were there at release to begin with. But anyway, I've never seen a route be updated that quickly. Thames Valley came out, what, a month ago? A month and a half ago? Usually it takes a lot longer than that for patches. If this is a little insight into what's to come, I'll be happy, man. But I am waiting to see what people will say the update has broken. You'd love to what, Tim? If it involves mint chocolate, I'm not involved. Found a house next to my workmate's house. Go and send him going through. Go and found the house. Asked if I could get 50k off it. There's a TV license payer. That's quite interesting. That's quite timely, actually. I just they just sent me an email this morning, saying, "Thanks for confirming. You don't need a TV license." Maybe I won't watch Match of the Day because I don't have a TV license. Oh, schmucks. Oh, darn it. So if I will be watching Match of the Day, I will need to inform them that, hey, actually, I'm going to be watching BBC iPlayer. So it's a good thing I won't be watching Match of the Day. TSG foliage looks a little different. Yes, yeah, they're using quite a variety, actually, to be fair, of foliage. Either we've rarely seen or we just haven't seen. I don't know why something like that doesn't happen often. Like, I feel like there's a lot of routes in the game right now that could look so much better if they didn't just use the basic assets. Sometimes it annoys me that I'm not, like, at least for now, involved in route building, because it's something I do want to do in the future, and I will do in the future. I just feel like if it was me, I would just do things differently. And I guess it's one thing to say that from a position of never having done it before, and then it's another thing to say it being involved in that process. But nah, man, no. I imagine myself making something fairly small, like maybe 20 to 30 minutes end to end, cheap, and just using it as a base, but like doing it well, you know, almost like a Thames Valley kind of vibe, Thames Valley branches, and then going from there. I feel like expectations got to be realistic as well. There is no LZB Zong Bremsang here, absolutely not. Thankfully, I haven't had that issue. I don't think it's an issue that can happen on the ICE, although people have experienced it, but they don't know whether it's a bug or not. So I don't know if it's a feature or not. And whenever I drive this or the 101, I just disable fault simulation. I don't know why. It boggles me that things to this day still, like features, they'll be added to the game and then not added later on. It's like, what are we doing? The Expert 145 came with that feature where you could translate to English the messages that were showing up. Why didn't it come here? Why didn't it come here? Why have we gone backwards? I can't play. It's difficult for me to play when I don't understand what I'm doing. I'm okay with, you can't, like, you don't really have much control over them on the ICE as long as expert mode is on. It's on. But at least they don't require you to do anything. As a matter of fact, if you ask me, it's quite a very basic implementation of faults. Like, things happen to the train and you just deal with it. Either your train has less power or less braking power. That's it. Or there are some other things, but you're not going to notice them really as you drive. So at least I don't lose anything. I'm not missing out on anything. Not understanding what's going on with the train. But with the 101 or the cab car, some things require you to take action, and I don't know what action to take if I don't understand what I'm reading. And I don't want to bring my phone and start using Translate. Number one, because that sort of just takes you out of it, out of the immersion. And number two, the Translate doesn't really work properly from my experience. Also, has CyberLeaks actually been arrested? Like, I've been seeing all the videos of like him and people protesting for him, and like videos that he's apparently made. If it's actually him, we don't even know at this point. But I don't know if it's like true. Like, is that really him? Has he really been arrested? I feel like the energy he was coming with, this ain't the same person, you know? Because when he was doing everything, it was given very much, I'm doing this until the day I die kind of thing. Like, that was the kind of vibe he was giving me. Now all of a sudden, what, like reality caught up, or... Yes, I control the stream. The wobbling wheels was diabolical. I'm so glad I didn't see it, and I never went looking for it after I learned of it. Because even though I know it happens, if I don't see it in my game, it doesn't exist to me. You know? Not exactly, but you get my gist. But it's just crazy. And how do you know? Isn't that something that when you're modeling the train, in the modeling phase, I would assume it's there that the wheels and how things move are like the animations for them are formed. So how is it at that stage where the wheels put on the train and then they went and tested? I don't understand. Didn't think the route was in such a state that it needed patch already. Well, I'm hoping like it's not a thing that the route was so bad. Oh, class 90. And that's why it needed a patch quickly. I just get the vibe that they just released some patches, some important ones, but like, it wasn't like an emergency situation, basically. I don't get that vibe. Because you look at the patch notes for Thames Valley branches, those should have come quick, in my opinion. Those should have come very quick. I don't remember doing 2 stops. I remember doing 1 passenger stop. I don't remember the other one. I said I'd love to remind you what's match of the day. Oh, right. Yeah. You got my problem, man. I find it so funny, hilarious as a matter of fact, when somebody will come to me and say, oh, can you remind me to do this? Bitch, I can't remind myself to wake up half the time. What do you mean remind you to do what? You remind me to remind you. Maybe we'll make some progress there. Don't ask me to remind you for nothing. And let me focus on myself and sort myself out first, and we can go from there. Maybe I'm the cyber leaker. If you are, Dan, please, bro, just stop mucking about and release the PC version. Thank you. Then I don't have to think about whether I should buy a PlayStation or not. Your first route should be something like Mild May. Too ambitious, you know. Low key, too ambitious. Like, I don't know if I have the bollocks to approach a TOC for announcements and stuff like that. I guess I'd have to anyway for licensing purposes, because it woed still be a licensed route. But I think I would be relying heavily on DTG to help me out with that, because I wouldn't even know where to start. Ultimately, I would like to do an underground route, a London underground route, and I have some ideas in mind, but they're long, because I'd want to do it properly, basically. And yeah, the only short route on the underground network is the DLR. Sorry, not the DLR. Sorry, Waterloo and City Line. I'm not going to do the Waterloo and City Line, even for free. No one would download it, so that's not happening. All the other underground lines have like branches, and I don't want to do it properly, man. And I just keep wondering to myself, how hard is it to do the light baking in tunnels? Because that's what people are afraid of. That's what stresses people out, is light baking in tunnels. And I just wondered to myself, how difficult is it really? I've got no clue, by the way, no clue about route building. But I do wonder to myself. Also, custom. I mean, I've never been like. Maybe by the time I do get to doing that, I'll be more comfortable because I'm expecting to do a lot of 3D modeling um, in the next short space of time. So maybe I'll get a bit more comfortable with 3D modeling. But right now, I can't do it to save my life. I remember doing it in college because I was studying engineering, and part of the course was to design bus seats, I think, like a new side of bus seats, out of all things. And even following the instructions step by step on how to use the software, I was still having difficulties. So I do think to myself, I do imagine setting myself the task of creating a train. And and I just think to myself, how? But obviously by that time I'll be a bit more comfortable. I like actually take the time to study, watch tutorials, talk to people who have experience. Then it should be a lot easier after that. I did see something that the leaks are leaked to a name of in-game casino. I mean, the leaks are linked to an in-game casino. What, as in the reason why? As in, that's one of the reasons why the guy is leaking the game. Because I've heard that there's a currency in the game that will be tied to real currency. That's going to be interesting. It was speculated like a few months ago. I heard it a few months ago. That's a scary reality, you know, because Rockstar like have the power to do that and pull it off. And like that's when flexing will be flexing. Because imagine there's certain things that you can only buy in that currency, and the only way you can get that currency is by using real money. Because I feel like Rockstar the type in mixing reality with the GTA universe to do some like ridiculous things and have like something in the game cost like $1 million in real money, you know? People are gonna do it. Anyway, I'm gonna be on PC, so you know, money drops and stuff like that, my radar will be on. My radar will be searching. I just wish I stayed on PS3 a little bit longer, you know, because I had a friend who moved to next gen like super late, and by then the hackers on PS3 were rife, and he came into next gen with like hundreds of billions basically. Never had anything happen to his account by Rockstar, so he can just afford anything like for the rest of like, from at that time it was like the rest of however long GTA Online was gonna last, bro could just afford anything forever and still have tens or hundreds of billions left over. Whereas now I play GTA Online and I'm like, I actually need to grind a little bit. Ew. Not for me. I make a list to make a list, then lose said list. Why not just set a reminder on your phone? Laziness. I don't know if I'd say we need another underground route. I think it would be important to... Bless me. It would be important to the London transport culture. Yes. In that sense, I'd say we need another London Underground route. But given, at least from what I've seen, what people want from the game, it's not that. The only people you'll see, well, not the only, but like 90% of the people that I've seen, if not 100%, that have requested more London Underground are people from London. Either people from London or people who are just really into the London Underground network. What software am I using? For what? I don't remember what I was talking about at the time. Naturally. Right on topic. That applies to light bacon, by the way. Some tunnels on some routes, suspects like us anyway, so cheeks. Yeah, yeah. Especially when you have that like bug, I'll call it, where like tunnels are super bright. It's just like a huge amount of yuck. I don't remember, Dan. In all honesty, boss, it was 2014. 3D CAD, I think. Is that like, is there a software called 3D CAD? It was one that you had to pay for, which I guess is all of them. I remember there were many versions of it. I remember that there were many different versions. Like there was one for like they're all 3D stuff and design, but there was like different like variations of it, if that makes sense. I don't know how I can describe it. AutoCAD, yes, AutoCAD. Thank you. Yeah, AutoCAD. But there was another one. Isn't AutoCAD for 2D? These glitches, by the way, are core game. I don't have mods except God mode. God mode will not cause this. SolidWorks, yes. So AutoCAD was for like the 2D drawings, and then SolidWorks for the 3D modeling. I got into GTA Online like 2014. First day got 50 mil. You joined at a great time. You joined at a great time. Good for you, honestly. Yeah, man. I was so jealous, man. I was like, no way. This is horrible. This glitching is horrible. I don't have a modified INI. I don't have anything but God mode. Obviously, the weather mod doesn't do anything like that. All the weather mod does is mess with the weather. It's busy though. Busy at Nuremberg. Look at that. Trains all across the platforms. People, however, zilch. Zilch. Ghost towns. Oh well. Such is the game. Sila TSW. Don't know if that's how it works. I do like that you can just slap the IC in full throttle and it will still accelerate at a reasonable rate. That's not going to break everyone's necks. Vienna Underground. What's a Vienna Underground like? I've got no idea. Oh, Tim. Wouldn't you like to know what's coming? Wouldn't you like to know what's coming? I will say, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. The Dovetail Direct is worth waiting for. And yeah, just a reminder that we are going to have a watch party. Tomorrow's stream will start with request a route for 3 hours. Then we'll watch the Dovetail Directs together. And then we can have a discussion about said Dovetail Direct. I think I'll be using probably Blender though. Blender is like the go-to for... Blender is like the 3D modeling starter pack, isn't it? And I think that's what people use to create trains for TSW, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Blender. Boy, my last year at university, not last year of the course, just my last year, the last year that I was at uni, I downloaded Blender, looked at the interface, thought, nah, blood, not doing that. But I do like learning. I hate not knowing how to do something. It just bugs me so much. So it's like, I'll force myself to learn, just so I'm not in the position where I don't know how to do that thing. If that makes sense. Sounds like the traction motor's got a dose of helium. Well, maybe that's what the message. The error has something to do with the acceleration or the engine, or the motors. Other than that, it's just a guessing game. Lowering my expectations. You know what, Tim? That's the smartest way. That's the smartest way to go about it. Have your expectations on the floor. I've been advising that approach with regards to TSW since like TSW 3. So that if truly it's disappointing, well, you expected it to be disappointing, so you're not disappointed. And if it's not, then you're happy. So it's a win-win. We use solid edge in uni, so I've never even heard of that. Sounds like it was for the better. Vienna Underground 2, polar opposites are. You know what's so crazy? I'm saying I can hear that word in my brain, but I can't say it. It's very weird. I'm hearing it over and over again, but I can't say it. Interesting. Did it feature in any other game? Or has it never featured in any game before, the Underground? What would have taken 1 click in SolidWorks, took 3 in Solid Edge. That to me sounds like Premiere Pro versus pretty much everything else. I remember moving from Sony Vegas, it's no longer Sony Vegas, but at the time it was Sony Vegas, to Premiere Pro, only because Premiere Pro had clout at the time, and that's what all the cool kids were using. After using Sony Vegas for maybe 2 years, and straight away I was like, why do I need to do that to get this effect? Why can't I just do this? You know? It's interesting how cavemanish Premiere Pro can be sometimes to this day, especially considering how much you're forced to pay for it. And I say forced because it's not like you can just cancel your subscription at any time. Well, you can, but you'll be paying a hefty penalty depending on when you decide to do that. I also hate not knowing how to do something. Yeah, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know whether that's just like male DNA, and it's like that caveman core DNA, or what. But like, as I'm working on my controller, I was just expressing this to my wife last week. I was so frustrated that I couldn't just do it. That there was something I didn't know, and now I have to wait and find a way to do it and study and learn. And again, I like learning things. I like adding to myself, but I just want to. You know, there's an old video time ago on like Twitter or Vine or whatever, where like, I think it was African kids or like an Asian kid, but they were like opening a book and they were like scraping from the book and putting it over themselves. Like it was like, oh, the last day before the exam. Why is there water here? Is this normal? It's not even water. It's either tar, oil, or I guess it's just meant to be wet. Never noticed this before. What is this about? See? You see what I mean, bro? It did Zephyr, it emergency brakes me, and not once did it give me the alert outside of the train. I knew it. Oh man. This game is the one like instance where I'm so disappointed that I know in advance what's gonna happen. Oh man. You designed a watch on it. Fair enough, man. I think you're one of those people that just has like certain like gifts. I think, Dan, or maybe I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to say dumb. I'm not dumb, but no, I just couldn't grasp understanding. I just couldn't get it, man. See, like growing up, yeah, maths was one of the things, which is why I really struggled with taking engineering as a uni degree. 3D modeling, these things I just couldn't understand. It seemed like rocket science to me. Like I couldn't even understand it at a basic level. And then I'll see like people around me just flying through it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just couldn't get it. August flew by. You know what, Tim? You're the second person to have said that around me in the last couple of days. I don't feel like it has. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know why. Oh, snap, it's my birthday soon. I just realised we are actually getting close to the end of August. It's my birthday next Tuesday. Yes, I said Tuesday. I'm British. Yeah, it feels like a normal month. I'm not gonna lie. I do wonder if these things, right? Has the government done something? Why are there a bunch, like what experiment have they done? What are they testing? There's a bunch of people who feel like August has flown by. Then there's a bunch of people who haven't. What's been done to those bunch of people that think it has, or that feel like it has? Are they doing experiments on time? Are they gonna make us feel like we can slow down time? I don't know. Some bollocks. Hello, Omar. How you doing, my man? Long time. Good to see you. Found the floating assets. Brave of you to think that's the only one on the route. I actually have. That's my first one, but you're not paying me to believe that's the only one. It is criminal to have it there, though. I don't understand how that happens, you know. Surely when they're laying down stuff, they're laying it on the ground. How does it end up in the air? Is it a misclick? Same thing for the Expert 101. That's criminal for an Expert stock, I'm not gonna lie. Even the Expert 145 had that. I know CWF Green sent a patch to Dovetail regarding it. One of many for the 145. Oh my lord, that logo. But I don't know if it ever made it into the game yet. I cannot believe how buggy that was when it came out. I mean, look, it wasn't a class 90 situation, right? But Expert 145. It's an expert trend. Like, it has to come out close to perfect for the sake of it being an expert logo. You can't really take a chance on it, man. I had such a horrible time with that. Such a horrible time. I didn't recommend it in my review. Did I even do a review on that? I don't remember. I know I had a ton of notes. I'm sure I did the review. I couldn't recommend it at the time. I don't know how it is these days because I haven't played it since. Literally haven't touched it since. It just hasn't featured anywhere. Maybe it layers. Even layering, I don't know if it's ever layered since. I don't know where you can drive that train. That locomotive, sorry. It's a weird one, man. Because the Expert 101, you can drive it like quite often. Expert 145, it's very much under the radar. Like you forget that it exists. I had to do it twice because it messed. Wait, I had to do what? Oh, the watch. What? As in you started from scratch, Dan? You say virtue and not exactly. See, but then I can't really stand by that logic because you got giraffe and then you got gate. Why is it not giraffe or jate? You know? And there's like a billion other of those instances in the English language, by the way, just saying. So whenever you guys do want to start hyping up and talking your crap, just remember you're talking English. You're mocking English, the language that you're communicating in. Just put it out there, you know. He means American, okay. Well, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Why are we not accelerating past? Oh, had they not set the speed to 300? Well, I do tend to realize these things quite late. We're over halfway at this point. So, speculation, guys. What are the core routes for TS for the next for the next era of Dovetail's products? I think people have decided what's coming out. I was checking the forum at work over the weekend, and it's like, I think people are saying what I don't know how to pronounce it. Aerodale, Wolfdale, I think. And someone said something else, I think, and then one guy was like, "No, we know it's going to be this." I was like, "Raw, where's the confidence coming from? Nothing's been confirmed by anybody." I haven't seen anything solid yet in terms of speculation for the German route. I've seen like 2 or 3 that come out often, and I've barely seen anything for the American side of things. I haven't seen anyone speculate. I've seen like one person mention the possibility of Austria coming as a core route. I think we're getting something diesel and local hauled for the US route. Yeah, a lot of people are saying 333. Yeah. I've seen a lot of that. People really need to be saying shit to have. No, but when it's like these kind of situations, Lasagna, where it's regarding a specific event and announcement, I think it hits different than just your... Like for example, like ICE4 has been like the topic for German trains for what, years at this point. That's just something that every year you're gonna hear IC4 or Velaro. Whereas when it's like this, it's different. Maybe another Dutch route with a I need to put bleach in my eyes if there is another Dutch route. Something in and around Vienna, the Zero ML. Yeah, the Zero is another thing. The Zero ML is another thing that comes up so often. What is like the class number for the Zero ML? Like it's BR what? The watch messed up, so I had to basically start the hub of it from scratch for those all sub-assemblies. And I'm assuming you also did the internals as well, Dan. Or is it just the back and front and you just sort of like merge them together? I don't mind working. If anyone thinks they can assist me in this train controller, I'm all ears. I'd be a fool thinking I can do it all on my own, you know. If I have to, I you know, I got God with me, so I will. But I think it's important. 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 2, so on and so forth. The most common one in Austria is RH. So is that not a train then that you would see in Germany? Is that something you'd only see in Austria? The Zero ML. I went to a website to get a model of the movement I was going to. It was too much of the time frame. Yeah, I can imagine, bro. To actually do it like 1-to-1. I mean, there's gifted and then there's that. No worries, lasagna. I asked, is the 0 ml something that you would only see in Austria, like you wouldn't see it in Germany? Because in my head, I always pictured it as like a DB train. I don't really know why. I just realized, coffee. I just had the chili noodles. My stomach. I will say no more. The 0 Austria, okay. I'm pressing it. I'm pressing Q. I'm pressing Q, bro. I was spamming Q. You are joking. Bring it on, Dan. Not doing much driving this train, so you got 19 kilometers. Entertain me. Hello, boss. Have you gotten over the shock of there being another schedule? Has your breathing returned to normal? Heart rate no longer elevated? You know, I'm going to use my controller. I want to sit back and chill. I gotta be like locked in. You know that like meme picture where like the guy like locks in, he moves forward. That's how you gotta play with a keyboard and mouse. I want to kick back. Sometimes just gotta chill, man. That's what TSW is about, right? Most of the time. I need some paracetamol. I used to always have a box with me. A box sounds crazy, like a packet. What do you mean that's how you imagine? What do you mean that's how I imagine y'all? How do you play TSW, boss? Are you telling me you don't lock in for PZB? I know PZB has you locked the flipping. You know what? I'll tell you what, JFK. Fair enough on the Simro side of things. I also had the same reaction. I couldn't believe it. They actually put up information. I mean, like, what is that? I have no idea what that's telling me. Anyway. Oh, we will slip in. Are we slipping? I just realized, why are we not breaking into... I'm so confused. No, we're breaking in time. Me no comprende. Laid back on your bed. Oh, you're OP. You're too OP for us, bro. You're too OP for the TSW community. Bro's kicking back on his bed. Sorry, I can't match that level of chill. Ugh. What a lazy advert. Like legit. What a very lazy advert. They've just took a picture, put put it up there. Like, no effort to, like, look at that. They've put it on all sides, on the sides. And I'm sure the top and bottom is also going to have the picture. Surprise, surprise, it does. No text. No effort to make it look like a real advert. It's just a screenshot they stuck on a cuboid. Okay, man. Anyway. Yeah, I haven't played games on my bed since PS3. Since I was like 16. I really miss those days playing GTA. Playing GTA in bed. Wow. That's a throwback.
Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
This train has been behaving very weirdly. So, this is how my engineering journey began. I attended a 5-year high school and was placed in one of the lowest classes. However, I managed to climb up to the second highest class because I was smart. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or a curse. Anyway, my teacher told me I wouldn't achieve anything in life. I would have to take a trade. This hit me hard and things started to decline. Then, in my 4th year, we had a day a week at a technology college where I did engineering, and that's how it all started. Thank you, Dan. That was beautiful to read. Even if it is going to cause me to spat because I wasn't paying attention.
Zwangsbremsung. Störung, Störung, Störung. Zwangsbremsung, 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 Zwangsbremsung.
Okay, in hindsight, maybe that was extreme.
Zwangsbremsung.
But I don't think I was going to stop in time.
Zwangsbremsung.
I'll be honest, Dan, yeah. I hear a lot of those stories. I didn't have that experience. I didn't experience it myself, nor did I see a teacher tell a student, like, oh, you're not going to make it.
Störung, 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 Störung.
For some reason, there's a maths teacher that I remember someone was mucking about, and then he looked at him and he said, are you going to be an idiot all your life? That was just stuck with me. I don't know why that of all things stuck with me. I thought to myself, if that was me, do I want to be an idiot all my life? No. So I stopped messing about in his class, even though it wasn't like said directly to me. I don't really know why that stuck. But I do respect, Dan, that you didn't let that get to you, because a lot of people would have just used that as an excuse. I think that played like a critical part in my life, in events in my life. Like, it got to a point where I just gave up on myself because of what others were saying. Like, I did hear that, but just not from like teachers. But hearing it so often, and from voices that as a kid you would trust, you know, growing up, it got to a point where that played a big part in that. Yeah, me thinking to myself, well, you know, I'm not going to become anything anyway, so why bother trying, basically. So yeah, full respect for pushing through it, and it actually, you know, I feel like those are the sorts of things that either make you or break you.
Türen geöffnet.
AFB. AFB.
PZB really isn't that bad. I don't get your issues. PZB, it's not issues. It's not that I've got issues with it, or I think Tim's got issues with it. I think it's more just he just needs to be locked in harder than like anything else. Because the MTA stuff on like Stamford or Long Island Railroad, yeah, they keep you busy as well, but they will tell you what you need to do. With PZB, it's on you. to see when you need to make a change, react to that change by pressing whatever button you need to press, and then doing what you need to do. You know what the train's then instructing you, and you need to know that in advance, because maybe you'll need to start slowing down before you go past a 1000 hertz magnet. I also lay down driving my train. I hope we're talking about virtual trains, JFK, not the trains you drive in reality. Because I realistically wasn't going A levels. Fuck it, so I'm going to do an AC in math and 3 other C. So I worked on a German history. C teaches me a lot. You know what? There are teachers that are absolute heroes. Like I've heard people's success story, and how, for example, they were like dyslexic in class. So not in class, but they were dyslexic, and so in their class, teachers like tailored things in a very specific way to like cater to that other teachers just didn't bother with. Like it was quite, I think, obvious to the difference between teachers who were there for a salary and teachers who were there to teach. And I don't really understand teachers who don't have a passion for bringing up the next generation, because teaching is one of the few jobs, I believe, that I don't understand how you can do that for the money. There's not for the stress that you're under. There's not that much money. So that, being a chef, and maybe there are a few others, I don't understand how you can do those jobs for the money. The stress just isn't worth it. It has to be a passion, but not everyone displays that passion in what I would say the right way. What for you ruins immersion, Tim? What did I do? It's because you were close to the brake curve. Oh, that when the train was shouting at me. No, I'm always close to the brake curve, whether under LZB or not. Because if you saw me driving the cab car earlier, which obviously you do it manually, I move like 2 or 3 inches. I'm always 2 or 3 inches above the red diamond. Plan was to get a desk there, but then I got myself injured. I mean, you can get creative and build one. I don't know how much desks cost. I know chairs are bloody expensive. I want to get a Secret Labs chair, but I don't want to pay Secret Lab prices. Went to do BTEC, which is an A-level equivalent. Struggled at the start a bit, then found my footing. I had the point to prove us, but also I've got distinction. Start. Jesus, fair enough, boss. I got like distinction, merit, which is a miracle, a genuine miracle, a literal miracle, actually. Considering what I was doing in college. Two cars on a platform. It's all about perspective, JFK. If you were sat where my driver was sat, and you look to the right, your train is in the platform. Maybe it's a very long platform, and that's your stopping point. You know, as long as you don't look back, it's okay. As long as you don't use an outside camera, it's okay. What do you want? Leave me alone. So I'm saying here's storing the same old story. Look, you know my story. Oh, we're talking about yourself. I'm good. What you just heard was that's a train's personal issues. Driver error is not in my dictionary. PZB demands your constant attention and patience. I was really not much to it. Honestly, like, it's not as hard as that. I feel like a lot of people make it out to be. But maybe that's just because of my principle. With PZB, if I see yellow, I press circle. I mean, that's it. You know, sometimes it's the correct. Why does my throttle keep? Oh, is that what the stalling was about? Anyway, that's my principle. If I'm correct, 1000 hertz, I slow down. If not, speed continue going up, and that's it. And it's been so successful to me, you know, dealing with PZB that way. But the funny thing is, I think it just comes from watching Matt's video about PZB all those years ago in TSW2. And then me just being like, this is long, like, I'm not going to be learning all of this. I just got that, okay, yellow, you say yellow signal, speed change, I was like, okay, cool, speed change, yellow, I'm acknowledging. Whether, when you come down to the specifics, what yellow signals you don't and do acknowledge, I leave it up to God. The speed signs I'm okay with, because usually you can see the magnet. If you see a yellow triangle and it's a speed change downwards, they're all downwards when they're yellow. Usually it'll be in an area where you will see the magnet or magnets around it. So I know, okay, if I don't see a magnet, I don't need to press anything. Although TSW being TSW, I've been penalized where there wasn't a magnet before. So now I just press, I acknowledge speed changes whether I see the magnet or not, just because it's TSW. Why the hell would anyone work in a professional kitchen? The only reason that I can think of being logical is you have a deep passion for food and cooking. That's it. There's no other reason you can convince me that someone would work in a kitchen. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, the crazy generic bit. Yeah, that definitely takes you out of immersion. I regret even like looking at it closely. It always looked off and weird from a distance, but going closer, Jesus Christ, man. How can you? I'm so sorry. I know it's just an asset. It's not a train. It's not something to do with the physics or sounds or anything like that. But it's very clear from the cab. How do you do that? Look at it and say, I've done a good job here. Yeah, this is good. This is going to look really nice and really authentic as you drive past, as the players drive past. How can you think that? That looks like a, not a template. What's it called? You know when you just put something temporarily just for it to be there and for you to kind of see the vision. And then later on when the higher priority stuff is done, then you come back to it. That's what it looks like. You cannot tell me that that's the final product. But see, if I go now and say that, the devs are gonna say, oh, but well, hard work out of passion. I went to do the sounds and I wasn't even paid for it. That's a different topic for another day. I wasn't ready for uni, so I did the foundation degree. First year uni split into 2 years. People thought I was over. People thought I was gifts even. I wasn't even on teachers at work. I think so. Assessment psychiatrist. That's wild, man. Yeah, I wasn't. I think uni was one of my biggest regrets, in all honesty. I can't say with confidence I went to uni for myself. Okay, in a way I did. But I can't say I had a plan in mind and part of that plan was studying engineering in uni. I can't say that truthfully. And to this day, I don't know if the reason my uni experience has gone, or my uni history has gone the way it has, because that's just how it was meant to go, or if it was because I just didn't do enough. I know that last one at least is, I can be confident saying it's partly true. But there were several things, I don't know, man. Like uni being the biggest challenge of my life, as I was experiencing the biggest challenge of my life, losing the person that was closest to me at the time. Then a little bit later on, at a different uni, doing the same course, I had a terrible medical condition that only lasted for that period of time while I was SAG. I don't know, man. The timing of things was just always very interesting. Don't forget about the clear signals of the song. What? I've never experienced that. Sounds like a skill issue, to be honest, Tim. I don't wanna make accusations and throw stones at glass houses or whatever the saying is. But I can't say I've gone through a clear signal, didn't acknowledge it, and got penalty braked. Then came the last year, which was absolutely hell and mental, broke me every possible still affected from it. But again, I had a point of view of working hard for the whole year. Multiple obstacles thrown at me, etc. I came out with first degree. You got a first in a master's with over 80%. Bro, I'm trying to have your level of like. I'm gonna prove you wrong, bitch. I'm trying to have your level of hunger. I think the developers are perfectly fine doing an okay job releasing our patch later. I mean, even patch later, like, it's the way things are. It's almost like we should be grateful that we even get patches. You know? I don't know. Sometimes I just see like metaphorically we're like stuck in a prison almost. Oh, but you don't have to buy it. No one's forcing you to buy it. Yes, I know. But this is the best train sim. I'm sorry. This is the best train sim. Are others more realistic? Yes. Are others better in certain ways? Yes. But the overall package, if you like trains, you want to play trains in a realistic way, this is the best game for it. So, yeah. It's like the meme with like SpongeBob, where like SpongeBob's arrested and like skinny wrists and like really big handcuffs, but also, like, no, it's actually kind of a bad situation. Oh, it doesn't come in as supposed to gloat, or whatever you want to call it. Gloat, bro. Brother, gloat. What the hell? You went through a damn lot to get to where you are. Gloat, bro. I don't want to ever hear that again. That's not even humility. That's just stupidity. Gloat, bro. There's levels. You worked your ass off. You get it. You sowed and sowed and sowed, and you've reaped, and you're continuing to reap. That's gloat worthy, brother. That's like something to be flipping proud of, you know. You didn't cheat your way through. You didn't take shortcuts. If you did, and then you were to like talk as if it was all you, then yeah, then it would be a bit shameful. But you did that all yourself, man. Proudest thing I ever did is I can't remember the day I was able to grab some of the person get the advice. Oh, God bless him, man. Nah, bro. It's good to be raw, man. I think sometimes we underestimate, because our story is so familiar to us and we're so familiar to ourselves. We forget. Not necessarily we even forget. Sometimes we don't even know to begin with the impact of what's within us. Like every time I tell like my story, I mean, one story of my life, I'll say, because there's many. To me, it's casual. It's like, yeah, it's mad, it's crazy, but like it is what it is. That's what it is to me. But when I'm telling someone it, they're like looking at me in awe and wonder, like, how did you do that? Oh my god, that's amazing. Da, 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 da. And then I'm like, when I see their reaction, then I'm like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, right, you know what? Like, if I was to hear that from someone, I think I'd react the same way. But yeah, sometimes you have to like step out of yourself for a second and actually like hear what you're saying and watch back your life to really appreciate the gravity of what you've achieved. Ludwigsbahn, you know what? I have heard some Ludwigsbahn. Yeah, it's a route you don't really hear much about, but anytime I hear about it or I read about it, it's the funkiest, weirdest issue or bug that someone's found. Yeah, Ludwigsbahn is in its own. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Ludwigsbahn is like uncanny valley. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I personally haven't really had any crazy experiences with it, but I'll hear like stuff that I've never heard for like other routes or other like stuff that will happen there with the trains that won't happen anywhere else. One of the saddest regrets is I didn't have fun in uni. Other things are also not going to that go. Hindsight is 2020, Dan. Not gonna lie. You know what? Maybe you did miss out. You know, on certain things, but I believe you genuinely love yourself and you love who you are and you're proud of who you are. And ultimately, I mean, it's like you think to like the butterfly effect. If any of those things you mentioned did happen or happened differently, you would not be who you are today. The exact person that you are today, you wouldn't be it. For better or for worse, you just wouldn't be who you are today. And I think that's something that I think it was 2024 or was it last year? I don't remember, but there was like a year where for some reason I was going through that a lot, like the whole, like the what ifs. What if this, what if that, what if I did this like that, and what if I did that like this. And every time I kept coming back to, but I wouldn't be who I am today. And same thing when I think about certain things I went through, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I then end up being grateful for the same thing that I was just regretted, if that makes sense. Especially on console. Bro, on console, you don't even... if you're not arguing, hush. Close your lips. There's nothing to argue about. All you've got is TSW over there. And maybe like Densha Digo or whatever it's called. All you've got is TSW. So... take it and be happy. And you know, like African parents, like, shut up, you know, just slap your head, just like, that's like, I feel like sometimes that's the treatment that console players get. Loving yourself and who you was a huge flex. Yeah, man. Yeah. And it's crazy, like, how dark being in the opposite side of that is. It's almost like it's one of the core things in life to love yourself. Because there are other things that if you don't do them a certain way, it's like, okay, life doesn't change that much, or it's not a huge deal. But that specifically, when you don't love yourself, you're in a very dark place automatically. And you know, here it is again, like, I'm glad to have gone through that, because now when I hear that, oh, someone's done something to themselves, there's a sense of empathy. Like, especially, for example, Londoners are very... I was talking with the cleaner at my station today, and she was like, London is cold. Like, people's hearts in London is just cold. And it's true though, and like often when people will like end their lives on the tracks, you'll just hear people complaining, I'm late for work, I can't get to here now, I can't get to where I was trying to go to, or why would they do that, it's selfish, da 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 da. And you know what, from an angle they're not wrong, but there should also be an empathetic mindset as well as a human being, which a lot of people really lack. And so when I hear certain things and they affect me, like they affect my day negatively one way or another, yeah, there's that initial like, ugh, but then it's like, hold on a second, remember when you were there mentally? And then it just allows you to give people grace, which I think is one part of who we were created to be. Like we were created in God's image. God's grace and love is ununderstandable. So I don't think it's a coincidence that you can hear people's story, people sitting on podcasts, for example, and telling certain experiences and stories of their lives, and then them saying, but yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, or I wouldn't change that for anything. Being console players just likes pumping with the big ass hand. No, you know what? I think it's less so on console, you know, because of the fact it's the only real train game / sim. Like at least on PC we've got SimRail, and SimRail's a better experience on PC than it is on console, my friend. We've got, you know, the real SimRail. We've got Train Sim Classic. We've got Magina. We've got Derail Valley. We've got Diesel Rail Car Simulator. We've got Zusi, and so on and so forth. So on PC we've actually got choices, at least. On consoles you ain't even got that. Nah, no worries, Dan. I think stuff like that is important, man. Stuff like that is important. Like you never know who's listening. Like there's certain times I'll tell a story that I think can really be of benefit to someone, and then let's say I'll look at the view count and it's like 2 people in the stream or 3 people in the stream, and then I get a bit downhearted because I think to myself, initially I think to myself, like I said that whole thing that I felt I had like a lot of substance to like no one basically. Then it's like, no, like one of those 2 people probably needed to hear that. So those kinds of stories or experiences, I never have an issue with them. They can be as long as they need to. Bro, my story, like when people ask me, like I think the biggest story of my life was how I came to Christ, and that's a long ass story. So people ask me, when people find out about me that, oh, I was in Islam and then I found Christ, they're always very curious. And they ask how. And I'm like, well, you want the long story or the short story? And I don't think there's a real example of long story, because it's a good 45 minutes. But I feel like it's always worth listening to because of how much substance that story has and how much there is to like take from it and apply to, you know, to people's own lives.
Zugbeeinflussung.
The reason I'm showing it is to show people who think they're not smart and they can't achieve anything. That's simply it's not true. If you're a man, some they work your ass off and don't give up. It can pay off just as much, if not more, than simply being book smart. 100%. 100%. I'm glad that we're out of the period of time where it was sort of society, like a societal belief that okay, you're only really like super smart if you go to uni and get a degree, and if you don't do that, your life won't be anything more than okay. See? If like if only Tim takes something from that, Dan, it was worth typing it all out. Oh, I'd love to. I think I've said it on. I don't think I've said the full story on stream. I love telling the story, man, because it's like it just gives all the glory to God. But it's I wouldn't even know where to start, man. You know what? Do you want the long story or the short story? Let me start by asking you what version you want. I mean, I'll still try and keep the long story short anyway, but I think I can summarize it fairly well.
Türen geöffnet.
Long story. I'll still try and like textures on those cars look terrible. I'll still try and keep it as short as I can because I do tend to waffle. I have a tendency to waffle. But how did I come to Christ? I feel like the backstory is important. I don't know why I just clicked on. Okay, the thing just as I'm going right, and then it just like went. I had no more options. This game's weird. But yeah, I felt like the backstory is important. So I grew up in a very I grew up in a household that was very serious about Islam. Like, you know, followed everything, like all the laws of Islam. And I grew up to understand the Islamic God, Allah, and I got to understand who He is, and I got to like loving Him, like loving the idea of this God who's created the universe, and you know, like I like everything that I read about Him, and so that was like, as a child, I loved God, but I wanted, like, even as a child, I was praying 5 times a day, going to the mosque, like with my dad. My dad would take me to the mosque, but I just wanted to, like, I loved Him so, like, I loved God so much. I wanted to know Him. I wanted to be able to talk to Him. I wanted to be able to, like, I wanted to have the relationship with Him as if He was like there, which in Islam doesn't exist. Like, that's like the ideology is actually looked down upon. I didn't know that as a kid, but you know, that was me growing up. And yeah, from a very, very young age, I was like fasting during Ramadan, which is like the holy it's like a holy month in Islam where you fast for 30 days. You fast every day for 30 days. And even when I was in primary school, so like elementary, you would say, I'd be waking up, like, cause the prayer times change based on I don't know whether it's the moon or the seasons, but like the times that you would pray in Islam, like they changed throughout the year. But like in the summer they'd be as early as like, yeah, because they'd have a prayer for like before sunrise or at sunrise around that time. So you'd have, maybe you'd be praying, you'd have the prayer at like 3ish, 4ish, 5ish, depending on what year, what month of the year is. So I would wake up as a kid, you know, I'm in primary school and I'm waking up for like 5 a.m., 4 a.m. to pray. So that was like how seriously I took it. And when I was in secondary school, which you would call high school, I was part of like the leadership in we had like in our school we had like, because how Christians go to church on Sunday, Muslims have that on Friday. They have their own on Friday, and I was part of like, basically I would lead the prayer sometimes, and I was like second to stand in for if the main person who would preach like wasn't around. I was like a stand-in, so I'd prepare like sermons and stuff like that. Like Islam was, you know, it was my life, and Muslims who take their religion seriously, their life revolves around Islam, which you don't really see in other religions. Like usually it would be, oh, Christianity is a part of my life. Christians don't really revolve their life around their faith. So yeah, Islam was just like a solid part of my life. And my idea of Christianity, I'll never forget, I was in primary school. My time in primary school, sometimes I would imagine being a Christian. Sometimes I'll just think to myself, right, like what if I was like a Christian? Because as Muslims have like in Islam you're taught that, you know, being a Muslim, being born in Islam, you are special. So there's this like superiority complex that a lot of Muslims have, of this like pride, similar to what you see in like Jewish culture a lot of the time, and like Jews, like I'm better than you basically kind of thing. So I would imagine being a Christian, and it would make me physically nauseous. Not like that the thought disgusted me. Physically, my body, I would feel nauseous. I'd feel sick at the thought of being a Christian. So that was my childhood growing up. That was like my faith background. As I grew up, and you watch documentaries, and I'd hear stories of people who, you know, people who had like gifts. I'm talking like the people who could just like divine or like spiritual gifts. I remember watching a documentary. One thing that's always stuck with me is this documentary that I watched about people who were basically, it was prophetic, but I didn't really understand like operating in that. So people who are basically prophetic, and they can see things. And so there was this plane that crashed in the US. It was a light plane. It was a small plane, like Cessna type, and it crashed in the desert somewhere. And no one could locate this plane, but they know it went down in the desert. And they searched and they searched and they searched and they searched for it, and they just couldn't find it. So they said, okay, we're going to do something like a bit odd. They got a group of these people, of like seers, and said, here's a situation. You know, can you help us? And within a very, very short space of time, they found the plane. Like the seers saw spiritually where the plane was, and they found it. I used to find stuff like that fascinating. You know, even something like lucid dreaming. Oh my god, like I spent years trying to perfect lucid dreaming. So just those kind of experiences and those kind of things I was really, really attracted to. And so I always had this desire to meet someone who was like that, I just found it incredible. It just so incredible. I was completely captivated by it, but I just didn't know anyone like that. So keep that in mind. So anyway, secondary school, high school goes by. I now found myself in college. Now at this time, academically, I wasn't gifted. Let's put it like that. I wasn't gifted, and you know, I don't really blame my dad for anything. He had his own life and his own experiences that led him to be who he is. But I heard a lot growing up, like I kind of just wasn't good enough, basically, and you know, especially the area of academia. So it was this thing implanted in my head. So I've gone into college, and also when I was in high school, secondary school, I went through quite a bit of bullying. Various things, my looks, my eczema, mostly those two things, my looks and my eczema. And also, I didn't really know how to like cuss. I wasn't raised like that. So I was like the easy target. You'd cuss me and then I wouldn't say anything back because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to cuss. So I never have anything to say. So I was always the easy target. Every day is something. And then I was the guy sort of who, if like girls were like doing dares with each other, I was the one that would go out and go on a date to ask him out. Like it was that kind of thing. So when I went to college now, I was also very psychological. Going through what I went through allowed me to be very psychological. So I was very quiet, but I would study people to a T. So I knew how to manipulate. So it's Stanford College, which means new people, new environment. I can be whoever I want to be. Anything I put out, people will perceive that to be who I am. So I put on this persona, this personality of a bit of a tough guy, you know, bit of like attitude, bit rude, not the type that you really want to mess with, because no one knows me there. Only one person did, but we weren't really friends back in school, so he didn't know me. So whoever I put myself out there to be, that's what they will believe. That's who they will believe I am. So that's what I did. And I was a nerd, but I put on this persona of like, yeah, bad man. And in my first ever experience of manifestation, I actually started to become that character, quite a nasty character. And I was someone who had I grew up in a both parent household. Dad was present, you know. Yes, we grew up with tough financial times, but we were able to go on a holiday every year. Food was always on the table. I didn't have like a tough upbringing like that, although obviously I experienced tough things. So I didn't really have an excuse. But am I pretending to be that person? I actually started to embody that. And so I started to that kind of just became who I was. And during that transition, I saw it in myself, and I said to myself, you know what? What's the point in trying to do the right thing anyway? I'm not going to be anything. I'm sat in college instead of sixth form, which is like this smart quote-unquote college, and I use quotation marks quite emphatically. What do you mean then? Can you remind me to send something, maybe possible sign on the stream? What do you mean by that? But yeah, I said to myself basically, there's no point in me trying to be good anymore. Like, this is really working out for me because people were treating me differently. I wasn't getting bullied no more. I actually was able to sort of, I wouldn't say instill fear, but instill caution in people. As in, like, I'm not an easy target to pick on. So I saw it started to work out. I was starting to enjoy it actually. I'm no longer that victim that I was back in school. This is cool. And the area where I grew up, I saw a lot of crime. I saw a lot of violence in the area. So I wouldn't say so, but growing up, I kind of thought that was a little bit cool. I saw it as cool. I don't know. I can't tell you why. So I was like, you know what? I'm actually starting to become like those who I used to look up to when I was younger. Forget like try. What's the point in trying? I'd go to college and then I just wouldn't do anything. I genuinely just didn't care anymore. I completely gave up on myself. Gave up on uni. I didn't believe my parents really expected anything of me. And so, in now becoming this new version of myself, I started to hang around like-minded people. I started to be around like-minded people. And before you knew it, I had people under me who would do what I say and would come and report certain things to me. People who I would have been scared of because they are the ones telling me like, yo, we've got this and that and certain things that may be useful if we were to get involved in like a confrontation. I'll put it that way. But like things in the UK that you would usually see in America. So all of a sudden, that's what I'm involved in. That's the life that I'm living. And it was like crack cocaine. I was so high off that, not power, but like from going to being bullied daily to now telling people do A and they do A, and they'll come and like, I don't know, treat me like some sort of lieutenant or something. I was high off it, but I also had a lot of pride, and I wouldn't take anything from anyone. So I was now walking around outside with like armed, and if I'd heard somebody say something about me, or if I'm online and I've heard somebody say something to me online, I would say, I don't do this online business, let's meet up and see what happens. And I'd go looking for people. So now I'm completely a different person. And that's my daily life. I'm walking arms. That's just my life. Parents knew nothing about it. I was able to keep it from them completely. And in living that, I found a group, and there were a couple of girls in that group, and long story short, one of them that I connected with got together, and when we first got together, I was still doing what I was doing. You're free. If you mean like use writing something at the end of the stream, Dan, you're more than welcome to, boss. You're more than welcome to just do that as you please. I'll still do like my sign off, but yeah, you're more than welcome to leave something that you feel will be beneficial for someone, man. Absolutely. But the story you mentioned about Danny. So yeah, the reason I was partly uncomfortable, and that my wife was uncomfortable with that character and me playing that character, was because of that and some other things as well. But my discomfort came from it's not who I am anymore. You get it? And I'm playing who I was. So as much as I enjoyed it, genuinely, I wasn't fully comfortable with it. But anyway, so yes, I've gotten now with this girl. I'm still doing what I'm doing, and you know, she's a Christian. She's a Christian. I'm a Muslim. And you know, we'd have those conversations of, oh, when we have kids, they're gonna be Muslim. No, they're gonna be Christian. You know, and we would tell each other, you know, like, oh, you know, she would be like, yeah, like, I was saying to her, you know, like, I was trying to get her into Islam, basically, because in Islam, you can only marry someone out of the faith if you intend to bring them into the faith as a man. As a woman, you just can't marry someone outside of the faith. That was a horrible stop. Anyway, telling the story, I'll use that as an excuse. So yeah, it was that sort of relationship, you know, and she wasn't hood. She had it in her, to be fair, because she grew up in quite a rough area, but she wasn't like gangbanging, right? I wouldn't say I was either. I was always say I was just doing me. Like, I was my own person. I didn't have like a gang. I was just my own person. I just happened to have people who, you know, sort of like just like were down for me, basically. And so we would. So anytime I would get into a situation, I wouldn't sort of tell her the full extent of it. I think she used to know I used to like walk around with stuff, but when it would go, so if I had like beef with someone, I'd never tell her the full extent of it. I would just tell her that, yeah, like, this was happening with so and so. So either, you know, be on your toes, or I'm gonna go and like meet up with them. And she would do like trying to stop me and whatever. And I was just very like, no, I said I'm gonna do that. If I said something, I never ever like came back on my words. If I said I'm gonna do something, even if I don't want to do it anymore, I have to do it because I said I was gonna do it. It's just very really prideful. So yeah, it was like a pattern. I'd say, yeah, look, so there's this going on with this person. I'm gonna go and like link them. So whatever might happen. So just so you know. Please don't. No, I'm gonna do it. And then one day, I had a confrontation. This is online, so I hadn't met the person. I hadn't met the person face to face. I had a confrontation with someone who he had some people of his sort of disrespecting what I took as perceived as disrespect to my friends. And I would always step in. Bullying, because of what I went through in school, my number one thing that I would pummel you for was bullying. So there was a little bit of that happening because one of my people was like a lot younger than me. So I thought like, yeah, well, I got to take care of this guy. So then I approached him, and I was like, you know, this what's going on? What's it about, basically? And he was just sort of being a bit rude. So I said, okay, like, what do you want? Because if you're gonna do this, let's just meet up let's meet up physically and just get it cracking. So he said, oh, okay, cool, say no more. And I remember somebody messaged me and was like, yo, because I had somewhat of a reputation. I didn't know, the person came from nowhere. I was like, yo, listen, I heard you got so and so with this person. Just so you know, this is how he does. I had some pasta with him, slang for beef, and this is what he did. And it was like shithousery. The guy pulled up to meet the guy, and then that guy came with like a gang of people, and then they ran the guy out. Basically, the guy had like, he was like, I had to respect him. He was like, yeah, like, they ran me out, but there's nothing I could do. There's like a bunch of them, and I didn't know that wasn't the plan. I said, okay, cool, like, I appreciate you telling me this, whatever. So I messaged him to kind of like get specifics, and I was like, okay, cool, like, so it's me and you, just you and I, yeah. Still, this is all online, so it's just gonna be you and I linking up. I will come to your area, and then we'll do whatever. He was like, well, my people already know what's going on, and yeah, like they're gonna come. I'm like, okay, well, tell them not to, because they respond to you. He was like, no, I can't even do that. They're crazy, or something along those lines. I was like, bro, what are we doing, basically? I was like, okay, cool. Well, cool. Then I'll bring my people, but they're not gonna get involved unless someone from your people gets involved in our beef. Then they're gonna jump in. And he said, okay, cool, that's fine. And then I was like, but no like fist fight. No, nothing ridiculous, fist fights. He was like, man, nah, like, they don't do that. They bring tools. I was like, bro, come on, but like, what are we doing? Like, I'm a fist fight type person. I'll carry stuff, but that's as a backup. But I never wanted to be that idiot. I didn't want to be that typical, like what you'd hear in the news and stuff. I wanted to do stuff old school. So he was insisting that, yeah, this is like, they're crazy and they're going to be bringing things. I was like, okay, well, if that's how it's going to be, then say no more. And that was going to be my biggest ever situation that I was ever involved in. So we set up a place, a date and a time where this was going to go down. So I told everyone on my side, look, this is a situation that's going down. Everyone just get what you have, basically, bring what you have. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. And so that's when people are coming to me like, yo, I've got this many pictures of what they've got. I didn't even know. Yeah, but I'm gonna need to buy the pieces for this thing. I'm like, yeah, like I'll pay for. I was ready to pay for like all of it, basically. But one thing I told everyone was, don't tell my girl. You could tell her like, yeah, she's gonna hear that the situation's going on with so and so, but don't tell her to what extent it's gonna go down. you know, it's gonna go down. And I told her, look, yeah, listen, I got beef with so and so. This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna link up. It's gonna go down, but it's gonna be minor. It's just gonna be a little scuffle. It's not gonna be anything. She was like, no, don't. I was like, it's gonna happen. I'm not backing down. And then she was like, whatever. And then there's nothing she can do. She was like, okay, cool, whatever. Can't stop you. And usually, that it would end there, and then I would go and, you know, whatever. This time she came back to me. I was like, please don't do that. Please don't go to this thing. Like, please don't meet him. I was like, be serious. And she's pleading with me, begging me, sorry. I'm going to go, and he disrespected me. He disrespected my people. I'm not having it. That was my logic. So she now said, well, okay, well, I'm going to shout him. I'm going to message him. I said, go ahead. Go ahead if you think that he's going to stop, because he was the only person I ever encountered that was like me in terms of stubbornness, in terms of pride. I hadn't met, and for somebody to come and warn me about him, this was a serious guy. So I said, cool, I go to him. She went to him and she messaged him. It was like, by this point, we still hadn't met in person, me and him. She messaged him and said, I don't know what she said. I'll never, ever know what she said. But about an hour later, he messages me saying, look, for the sake of your girl, I'm going to dead the beef. Oh my God, if I wasn't proud enough, if my head wasn't big enough, I was like, because this is the most serious guy I've encountered, and he's dead in it. I said, I knew you were never on it. You're a pussy. I was gassed. I'm telling all my people, like, yeah, he's not on it. Loving it. And then a few hours later, me and her were talking. I was sort of, things had settled down a bit, and I said, like, so what did he say to him? Like, how did you get him to back down? She didn't want to tell me for some reason. But what she did tell me was that she was sitting in her living room in her house, and she like had a prophetic encounter. Now bear in mind, the only side of Christianity that I knew was big churches with pointy roofs, choir that I see on like Sunday on BBC. They sing, you know, that kind of thing. Pews. That's the only side of Christianity I knew. I didn't know that was power. With all due respect. So she's telling me she saw the weapons. Bearing in mind now, I didn't tell her that there were going to be any weapons. So now I'm raging. I'm thinking, who told her? I told everyone not to tell her that it was going to get to that level. So now I'm going and I've checked everybody that was close to me. Like, yo, why did you chat to her? What did you say to her? Everyone's saying they didn't even talk to her, let alone talk about that and talk about the extent of it. And I've clocked that everyone's saying the truth. So I say, okay, so what? So I go back to her and I'm like, what? So how, what do you mean you saw, like you saw what you saw? She says that it was a vision, like God showed me. Now bearing in mind, in Islam, any spiritual encounter is demonic. God don't talk to you. God don't show you nothing. God don't communicate with you. There is no you and God. You're a slave, he's your master. There's no father and son. There's no friend. There's none of that. You are his slave. Period. The Quran, there's a verse in the Quran that even says, like, we're not good enough. We're nothing basically in terms of being able to communicate with God. So anytime you hear that in Islam, it's demonic. Muhammad was the last prophet, so there are no prophets. So none of that kind of thing. But I'm now thinking to myself, well, hold on a second. In my heart, I'll say, not in my spirit at the time, but in my heart, I knew her stopping it in that way meant that I was that something was going to happen. Either I was going to die, I was going to get killed that day, or I was going to kill and spend my time in prison, my life in prison. Either way, my life was finished from that day forwards, had that meeting happened. And so because of that, I was told that, like, I owe you my life. I'll take a bullet for you, all of that kind of thing, and I meant it from my heart. So anyway, in my head I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I believe that this kind of thing is the devil. But how can it be that the devil will stop something bad? It didn't make any sense to me. Like, there was this big conflict within me of, I know this is demonic, it's the work of Satan. These are like what we call jinns, which are like spirits. This is the work of evil spirits. Because in Islam, spirits exist, but they live in a different realm, and we're not allowed to contact each other. So when a spirit does that, they're bad, basically. That's the Islamic belief. So I think to myself, okay, this is the work of evil spirits, this is the work of Satan, this is like dark. But I know in my heart what I was ready to do and what I was ready for, and I was willing to either die or cause that onto someone. I know that. Why would the devil stop that? I know, I'm still a Muslim at the time, I'm still practicing, but I had lost the will to do good or to be good. So I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I was still engaging in it. And I think to myself, I know that was wrong and that was bad and that was evil what we were going to do. So why would the devil stop it? It didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand that, and I could never have an answer. So from that day onwards, I became a bit more interested. So I'm like, okay, you're one of those people that I always wanted to meet. I've seen the evidence of it. Let's talk. So I started to ask a bit more questions. Okay, so what do you mean? Like, what's this like? How is this Christianity basically? Because like, I've never seen this on TV. Whenever I saw stuff about Christianity and Christians on TV, and then she started telling me like her life and the experiences that she had, how many things she would see before they would happen, the things that God was like showing her, and just this encounter with God. And in my head I'm thinking like, nah, this is demonic, but like I'm curious, let me hear more. And I'll never forget one phone call we had that lasted from about 11 p.m. at night to 5 a.m. the next morning, and it was only her telling me her experiences for 6 hours straight. I didn't say anything other than asking questions about those experiences that she had. My mind is blown, but I'm still thinking to myself, nah, but this is demonic though. But I'm trying to understand, how can it be demonic, but you're saying that God was using you to do these things, and they were good things. You were saving people, you were helping people, you were, you know what I'm saying? So I just had this conflict within me, but I was curious. It had like God knew exactly how to like get through to me. Because the thing about Islam and Muslims is that someone who's a practicing Muslim will never, ever, ever leave their faith based on someone saying something or them reading something. I will persist in saying this. The only way practicing Muslims will give their lives to Christ is if they have a personal encounter themselves. Otherwise, they'll die a Muslim. So anywho, so after hearing all of these things, obviously I'm still like, okay, it's cool, I hear you, I don't know where I stand with it, but I'm curious. So anywho, one day we had a phone call, and without going too deep into it, it's not even that deep, but without going into it, to try and keep it as short as I can, although I've already been going on for so long, I said something that I didn't mean to say. I meant something else, but the way I worded it was like just completely retarded. And so it sounded like something so bad, and she got so mad at me, so mad at me, and like she blocked me with everything. I was like threatening that like if I tried to like come and see her physically, there'll be people waiting for me, basically, because like I said, she was in like ghetto or whatever, but where she grew up, it was very rough. But she knew people from there that she had contact with, and that would like because of who she was. Because she just had love for everyone, man. She was a good person to everyone. Like they were ready to like ride out for her. So she was sending me all these threats and stuff, and I'm like, oh my lord, I'm bearing in mind this is the love of my life, my first love, you know. So my mind's all over the place, and by this time, I think it's important to mention as well, she had actually helped get me out of that life. So by this time, it had been about 4 or 5 months since I had like actively engaged in like those activities, and we'd been together for like 7 or 8 months by that point. So God was using her in my life like from like pretty much straight away. Obviously I didn't know what it was at the time. So by now I was no longer that like angry all the time, beefing everyone all the time kid. I was a lot softer, you know, a bit of a lover boy now. I've gone back to my lover boy self because I was a lover boy when I was younger. And the love of my life has just, yeah, I've ruined it basically. It's in the bin and I've got nothing left. I was still in college at this time, but there's nothing really else going for me. And I one time when we had the like religious conversations, she like told me about how Christians pray and like what they say. So that day my life was falling apart. So that night I was in bed and I said, okay, like, I didn't mean what I said. I didn't mean, like, why did I say it like that? I was just mad at myself. And I said, you know what? Like it was so, what I was going through was so like loud and chaotic within me. I said, let me test this. Like, let me test this Christianity thing. Bear in mind that time we'd had so many conversations about Christ and religion and faith and Islam and all this back and forth. So I had learned quite a lot about how Christians do things, or like her sect of Christianity did things. So I said, okay, what I'm about to do is mad, because in Islam, the second you associate someone with God, you're cooked. It's like an unforgivable sin. So I knew I was doing something that I couldn't come back from, or that I believed I could. That my understanding of it was that I'm not going to be able to come back from this. So I was like, okay, I'm in bed now. My phone's down, and I slept alone. I had my own room. Okay, and I said, okay, Allah, who is the Islamic God, forgive me, but I need to know what's what. Because at this time, there were certain things that would just happen randomly that were making me really think, like, what's going on? Like, for example, there was a time in Ramadan where I was going to do a prayer, and I had this like sickening feeling within me about it. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. And I didn't know where it came from, and I had to fight it to do the prayer. So it was those kinds of experiences I was having every now and again. So I started to become really conflicted about my faith, and I just had to know who is who, because I'm ready to serve God. I believe there's a God. I need to know who I'm going to serve for the rest of my life. So I said, look, Allah, forgive me, but I need to know. I need to know what's what. If it's you, I'll serve you for the rest of my life. So I'll make this prayer I'm about to make, and something happens, then I'm going to need to make a decision I never thought I was going to make. So I said, prayed exactly how she taught me, like how she taught me that day pray. I said something along the lines of like, you know, Father Lord, I come to you through Jesus Christ with thanksgiving. And I just prayed that like God would explain to her what I meant. Because at this point I had believed that she was hearing from God. So I was like, God, just explain to her like what I meant. You know, I didn't mean like how it came across, and I was whispering it because I'm in my parents' household. I'm a Muslim. Certain countries. So I was whispering this, and yeah, you know, closed off the prayer. She taught me that like Christians close their prayer. I thought nothing of it. Went to bed. woke up the next morning, got ready for college, got dressed, had my breakfast, got on the bus. I'm on the bus now. Packed. I'll never forget. Packed bus. I remember where the bus was. I remember what bus it was, and I remember that it was packed. I was upstairs. I was on the right hand side near the back. My phone's ringing. Her name is. She's calling me. That's the first strange thing. She's unblocked me. She's calling me. I remember she was furious at me. That was the first weird thing. Hello? I say hello. Her response, the first thing she said to me was, "Did you pray last night?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "What did you say?" And even though I didn't believe the prayer that I had made, it still felt quite personal to me. So I said, "I'm not telling you." She responded, "Did you say?" Now, was letter for letter, word for word, space for space, what I had said, what I had whispered. Well, part of it. So then I was like, yeah. And I also said, and I finished it off. And she was like, okay, yeah, God spoke to me this morning and he told me, he told me what's what, basically. And yeah, no, we're cool. Sorry. Now bear in mind, that's completely normal. That's her life. She's experienced that her whole life. I'm Muslim who's tested Jesus, even though I didn't even believe that what I was doing was doing anything. I said sorry. I was speechless. At that point, my whole world flipped. Everything I had believed growing up, everything I was taught by my parents, everything I was taught reading the Quran, everything I was taught in Islamic school, my entire life up to that second had flipped on its head. And she was just like continuing the conversation completely normal. So anyway, the day was the day. Went to college, studied, spoke to her during the day. The rest of the day was completely normal. However, because of the few months before where I had given up on myself, I had also given up on my stuff. Like I was coming to college to open my laptop and play games on it with my friends who were doing the same thing. I wasn't like doing any work. I was just coming in for like vibes. So I was months behind in all my lessons. So the next day after that experience, I remember I was walking down my estate on the staircase. I used to always walk down the stairs, so I couldn't be bothered to wait for the lift or the elevator. So I'm walking down and I said, you know what? That was kind of cool what happened yesterday. Let me try it again. I said, Lord, I said, no, Father, Lord, I come to you for Jesus Christ of Thanksgiving. I just pray that today I'll be locked in, I'll be focused on my work. You know, I'll get a lot of work done and it'll be like a good day like at college. Jesus Christ of Thanksgiving, I pray. Amen. Went to college and by that time it was June, July. So college had come, the lessons were finished. If you're coming to college at that time, you're coming to catch up. So there were no lessons, I'm going to catch up. And obviously there's no classroom, so you go to like computer rooms. Now this computer room that I went to was packed. And there was one seat, and this one seat where I was sat beside was someone who is having the maddest conversation. And the whole room is just shouting loud, like not the environment for focus and work. In 3 hours, I kid you not, in 3 hours sitting there and working, I did more work than I had done the past month. I kid you not. In 3 hours, I did more than I had done the past month. And so I went out for a break. I called my girl and I said to her, yo, something happened today. I left my house and I prayed this, and I went to college, and this is what happened today. I've just come out for a break, and to me, it was like it was a madness knowing how college was going at that time. And she said, "Well, yeah, but you prayed for it, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, but it happened." And she was like, "Well, you prayed for it, so, and you know, you used Jesus' name, so." In my head, I'm like, "But yeah, it actually happened, though." It actually happened. So that was my second experience. Of course, naturally, after that, I'm a lot more convinced. And Ramadan comes along, the Islamic holy month. I'm still a Muslim at this time. So we made a deal that during the night, because in Ramadan you would eat before sunrise, and then your fast starts at sunrise and it finishes at sunset. So because it was summer, by the time I came back from the mosque, which was like midnight 1, there was only a couple of hours left before like I had to wake up and eat, so I would just stay awake. So we made a deal that during that night time, those early hours of the morning, we'd have a day where she reads the Bible with me and I read the Quran with her. So I can't explain how, but somehow we never read the Quran together. So we were just reading the Bible. Every single thing that we read, we were doing like over the phone or like on a Skype call, I think it was. Every single thing I was reading, it was like the words were I can't explain it. The words were alive and like jumping at me, and were like, everything was talking to me. Everything that I was reading was so relevant, so loud to me. I had never experienced that. So a couple of weeks passed, and like I think this must have been in the middle of Ramadan. I said one of those phone calls, and I was like, in one of those phone calls, I said, "Look, how do I do this thing? How do I become a Christian? What do I need to say?" She was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Before I change my mind, tell me what I need to say." Because by then I had just experienced too much, like too much. And then she told me what to say. I surrendered my life to Christ. And yeah, man, from like hardcore Muslim who was ready to die for the faith, someone who was ready to kill, who was ready to die for pride, gave his life to Christ at like 2 in the morning, middle of Islamic holy month. So that was it. And a lot of things happened after that. A lot of experiences and encounters happened after that. But I think the most important thing for me was I had conversations as a Muslim. Why are we not going anywhere, by the way? I don't understand why we're not moving. I had a lot of like experiences and like debates with Christians, but one thing that they never told me was the power in Christ. Like what Jesus did, we can do. That's the whole point of having the Holy Spirit. So to me, as a Muslim, this faith was dead. Like it's a joke thing. Like you're a Christian, so you can do what you want. There's no rules, there's no limits, no boundaries. Because you know the Christians I was speaking to as well weren't like the most serious about their faith. So that was my window into Christianity. And then the minute I had like a real encounter, it changed my life. And yeah, I think the fact that I've lost so much because of it, because of that decision, friends, family, and I'm still like firm in that decision, I think is a testament in itself to how do I sound? Oh my god, I've only gonna open the doors. But yeah, man, I think the biggest crime that the Christians that I was talking to did was just not tell me like the real Christ-like experience. And like I said, there's a lot more to that story, but that was, why can't I move? I don't understand. What's going on? I don't understand what's happening. We're not slipping. We're not slipping. Why are we not moving? I don't really get what's happening. I have no idea what's happening. We're not slipping. We're not slipping. The train's just not going forward. I've turned off AFB because AFB is usually the cause for this. What do you mean look in the cab is given power? Lasagna. We spanned it going backwards. Okay, so yeah, it was given power, so why weren't we moving? I don't understand. 80%. 60 experience is always the go-to for me. With it raining, I didn't want to apply more than how much I'd usually. I was giving it 60% plus at a point. I've got to wrap it up anyway because the stream's going to be finished 20 minutes ago. I just wanted to finish the run and tell the story as well. I'm just going to use God mode and force finish it. If the world hates you, you know what? Part of that experience is why my WhatsApp status is Mark 8:36, which says what would it benefit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? And that's it, man. Let's try this again. I'm gonna quickly wrap it up, and I'm not going to get to Ingolstadt Outbahnhof. Right, direct brake is on. AFB is off. You see how the needle just went down? Before, even with AFB off, it was the needle, the red needle, it stayed at the top. I wonder if that has something to do with it. I'm gonna go back to 60% throttle and see if the train's gonna move, because I think that has something to do with it. You see how it starts moving forward and then it goes back. There's 80%, 82%. I'm thinking a wheel slip, man. Past a certain point, we're gonna get wheel slip, no? %, no movement. 90%. Nothing at 90%. No wheel slip though, but no movement. 100% for the sake of it. Max throttle. There you go. All brakes have released. All three are green. No movement. 100% throttle. No AFB. Oh. No. We start moving so it's behaving. When you have AFB on a steep gradient, the power will move and then it will go back. It will move, then it will go back. And it's like just as the train starts moving forward, it stops the power. Which is why at this station I always turn AFB off, start moving, maybe 20-30 kilometers an hour, then I turn AFB back on. Yeah, we move forward, then we move back. We move forward, we move back. I can't explain this behavior. It doesn't seem like it. Is there anything else I can try? Reverse is reverse is what got us the SPAD, mate. Don't think that's gonna work for us. Yeah, you can't complete it. It seems like if you're at Ingolstadt Hauptbahnhof with the 101 in rainy conditions, you can't continue on. Unless you do this. One way to do it, innit? AFB goes back on. Did a brake come on in the cab car? I don't know. I can't tell you what was going on there, man. Also, why is the limit 130? But I'm not at LZB. LZB is gone. Better pay attention to the signals then. Tim, I saw this solution years ago. I think it applies on it's just the game. The game doesn't. You know, in Euro Truck, yeah. If you remove your trailer, the game will tell you, yo, go and put. That's me. The game will tell you, yo, you need to go and get your trailer, and you can't finish your route without the trailer. Sorry, by the way, PZB is gone as well. There's no PZB. So loading the save broke everything pretty much. Anyway, yeah, in TSW, if you're a locomotive, you can just decouple. Freight, you can decouple anywhere and just go. I think somebody was struggling with freight on a freight route. I read on the forums ages ago. And so they said, okay, I'm just gonna leave. Like, they dropped like 2 or 3 wagons, and they were able to like go up the gradient. I think they were stuck at a gradient in the rain or something like that. And I read that and I was like, oh, okay, that's handy to like remember. And here we go, years later, it's come in handy. So yeah, the game doesn't like know. The game doesn't read whether you're carrying or not carrying anything. Where you'll get stuck with a passenger service is when it says unlock the doors and there's no doors to unlock. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna press the button anyway just to see what happens. But I could have like uncoupled 2 or 3 coaches and then been able to go to continue the journey. But yeah, so if you're ever struggling with freight up a gradient, I don't think it being an expert train would make a difference. The train doesn't know what operation is on, you know? Oh, look, I've broken it. It can't say unlock doors where there's no doors to unlock. So now it doesn't know what to do with itself. And this is why I can't live without my God mode. And a gold medal. Thank you very much. Genuinely surprised it's not a platinum. Men say this earlier, and then I'll chill with the Jesus stuff, but this incredible comments. Yeah. Bro, I can't. You can't argue with an encounter. I've debated, even with like my partner at the time, who like revealed Christ to me. We debated, bro. This was we dated for like 9 or 10 months by the end of the relationship. But during that time, we debated a lot because Islam's very like, it's a big part of my life. Even though, like I said, I was living the life that I was living at the time, and obviously Christianity, Christ is a big part of her life as well. I wouldn't even say Christianity, I'll say Christ. Christ was a big part of her life as well. So there was a lot of debates, and she's told me all her experiences, everything she's gone through, but it was never enough, and it was never going to be enough to make me give my life to Christ. I had to have my own encounters, and that's why, like, I stick to what I said earlier about Muslims who actually practice Islam. Go and research Muslims who have converted to Christ and watch their stories and find me one that didn't come to Islam through an encounter. Find me one. Every single video I've watched or that I've come across on social media or YouTube about, someone who came to Christ from Islam, every single one, it was an encounter, be it a dream, be it like some sort of experience, some way, somehow they had an encounter with Christ. Without that, I mean, you've got like jihadi terrorists who gave their lives to Christ. You can't deny Christ. You can't deny the truth. You can't deny Christ. You can deny people's words. You can deny arguments. You can deny things that you may even read in the Bible. But an encounter, nah. That's why I used to stress a lot about my family only found out like a few years ago that I gave my life to Christ. But by then it had been 8 years. So it was a pretty well kept secret. And, at the beginning there were a lot of arguments, like faith based. And then like a couple years later, I just thought to myself, you know what? Like, I don't believe a Muslim comes to Christ without an encounter. Is it possible? Yes. Is it reality? Not really. So me arguing and making all these very legitimate, valid points, winning these arguments, it's not going to change. It hasn't been changing anything, and it's not going to change anything because the veil is the veil, isn't it? Like if the heart, like if God doesn't open your eyes, if God doesn't open your heart, you're not going to get it. I argued with Christians. You get it? Like I was there. I understand it. So why am I here like stressing and like getting worked up when it's up to God? It's not me. Like, who am I thinking that I've got what it takes to do it? And even if I do manage to convince anyone, it's the Christ within me. It's not me. So yeah, going back to what you said, like it's Christ, man. Because without that encounter, without those experiences, without him coming through when I leaned on him, when I tested him, even though I didn't believe in him, even saying that prayer, I didn't believe in him. But because it's a principle, bro. It's a principle. Because I used his name. So it was. And yeah, man. So yeah. I didn't have the discernment. I was arguing. I was arguing the truth. I was arguing against the truth. I had the discernment. But by his grace, like, obviously things are different now. But, at the time, no clue what I was talking about. No, but you can lose the debate. You can. I as a Muslim in school, in secondary school, like, you'd get these silly like arguments, conversations. A Christian never won an argument against me when I was a Muslim. I won every argument, and I would make the Christian look silly, feel silly. I probably made them doubt their faith. I didn't lose an argument as a Muslim against Christians. So It's more so, yes, at the end of the day, yes, you are telling the truth. You know that, but they don't. They don't. And it's gonna take a lot more than just you with your own power. You know what I'm saying? Like, before you had the conversation, did you pray? Did you lean on the Holy Spirit? Is the Holy Spirit leading you to speak to this person? What's the Holy Spirit telling you to speak to this person? Because going back to what I said about the Bible verses that we were reading, I came to learn after I came to Christ. She told me that the Holy Spirit was telling her what to read with me. So it makes complete sense that every single thing we read was relevant to me and relevant to my life and was what I needed to hear at that point in my life. It all made sense. So she didn't have that discernment. If she didn't go off the leading of the Holy Spirit and she just decided, oh, this verse is nice, I'm going to read this with him, I would have just been reading words on a page and it would have been nothing else. It wasn't life. Those words are life. The Bible puts it. I can't word it better than the Bible puts it. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That's it. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Period. But you can't receive the Word if God isn't involved in that. So, yeah. And also another thing that made me like just relax a little bit when it came to like those arguments after I gave my life to Christ, because I've argued against like a lot of Muslims, like in uni, online, it's offensive to Muslims for you to leave the faith. You're a fool, you're an idiot. Like, it's the highest form of like sin, hence why it's punishable by death in so many like Islamic states. As a matter of fact, it's very interesting if you were to read what the Quran says about people who leave Islam and then talk about that. Anyway, that's another story for another day, another topic, I should say. But I forgot what I was even saying. Yeah, another thing that made me like relax on the arguments, thank you Holy Spirit, was the fact that like I used to watch some debates sometimes and I realized, hold on a second, these are debating on a panel at an event about the debates. You've got a Christian on one side, you've got a Muslim on the other side. They've both got degrees. They've both got doctorates in theology. Do you get? This is a level of study all the way up there, and knowledge and stuff. And they engage, that's their life. They engage in debate. So they've heard it all. Both sides have heard it all from the other side. And yet somehow, the Christian's still Christian, the Muslim's still Muslim. So if doctors of theology who debate as like a career or whatever you want to call it, like for their as their life, whatever, their life path, can't agree, what am I doing? what am I stressing about, you know? So yeah, man, when I realized that, I was like, yeah, like what happened, all I can do is pray for someone. If God touches their heart, amazing, you know. If I'm led to say something to someone, I'll do it. If not, I'll evangelize, because that's what we'll always be doing. That's our core purpose as Christians. And then you've got your God-given purpose. You know, I'll talk about Christ. I'll advise people to seek Christ, to give their lives to Christ. But to debate, to fight, to argue, nah. The Bible says when Jesus sent out the disciples to go and preach in other countries and other cities, he said, if a town doesn't welcome you, wipe the dust off your feet, of your sandals, and move on. So when I see people like arguing, it's like, I hear you, I love your passion, but you're not going according to the Bible. You're not going according, like, the Bible doesn't tell you to stand firm and fight and argue. No. It tells you if you're not accepted, if they don't want to hear it, wipe the dust off your feet from that place and move on to the next. So yeah, and there's a way. God is love. Yeah, God is peace. People, and my father-in-law has been like really like teaching some incredible things lately. But people, we all need Christ. One thing that he says is that everyone has like a Christ-filled hole, a Christ-sized hole in their heart. We all need Christ, whether we know it or not. And no one's going to experience Christ by you shouting on the street. You get, there's been like a rise on social media of that. That's not what we're taught to do. It looks good. It does look good, and what you're saying is you're saying the right things. But you shouting at someone, that's not how you're going to receive Christ. You talking to someone, listening to them, and filling their need, whether it's financially, whether you perform healing on them, whether you pray for their deliverance, what Christ meets you at your place of need. So you, who is Christ-like, walking in Christ's character with his spirit, you need to meet people at their needs. So go to the drawing board, do your prayer, do your fasting, become unified with the spirit. And then, because there's a guy who he'll go and he'll prophesy to people, a guy in America, he'll like walk, he'll just be walking down like late at night in Miami, I think, Miami or somewhere, and he'll just be walking, and then if like the Holy Spirit says, okay, the Holy Spirit tells him about someone, he'll go to him and be like, listen, because like he'll ask them about, do you believe in Christ, like what do you think, what's your belief, and he'll say, oh look, do you have like this thing going on in your life, basically, whatever, and it will be like accurate. He's always hitting the target. And you see people like soften up, because like this thing, there's certain things that you're not going to know of your own accord. It has to be revealed to you. And he'll come and he'll meet them at their needs, or he'll pray for them regarding that particular thing. And you see, even if they like still don't believe by the end of it, they're so grateful for that encounter. It wasn't everyone that was with Christ, or that walked with Christ, or that was part of the crowds to see Christ, that followed him. You know what I'm saying? Like when he fed the miracle of the fish, the 5,000 fish or whatever. Do you know how many people were there to eat and enjoy the food? And do you know how many people stuck with him? It's not the same number. So you go and you do good, you love. You can't operate in Christ without his love. You operate in that love, and you go by his leading. You don't need to stress about anything. You don't need to get angry. You don't need to fight anyone on the street. You get it? Like, you don't need to do that, man. Yeah, that fire that you have when you first encounter Christ is mad. You want the whole world to know. Yeah, it's man. I almost envy that me, that yeah, you just want the world to know. And you're like, how didn't I know this? Why did nobody tell me about this before? Since I believe there is, I'm not saying is or not, I have my own reason for I believe that they should find their own way. They should not be forced into it, each of their own. So someone doesn't believe doesn't mean they should be badgered the same if they do. Period. That's it. Not everyone wants to hear it. You get it? Like, I've seen videos where people will be like on a nice day out, or they'll be at like at a restaurant and you're screaming, if you don't repent, yeah. It's like what you're saying is not wrong, but your approach, the execution is wrong. You're not spreading the love of Christ or being a nuisance. You're being a bother. So yeah, you can't force it, man. You can't force it, man. You can't force it. Of course not. But it's like people do go about it that way, unfortunately, and it's not the right way it's not the right way. It's actually not. Ironically, it's not Christ-like. Yeah, same here, Tim. Same here. Yeah, same here. A lot of people just grab a microphone, grab a speaker, and just shout things that don't tell me about hell. I don't want to know about hell. But maybe I haven't felt love in a while. Maybe no one's showing me love in a while. Maybe I'm going through some stuff. You know? That's gonna touch my heart. That's when you're gonna meet me. You tell me about hell is noise. It's just noise in my ear. And again, they're not lying. They're not telling something that's not true. But execution is so important. Read your Bible. Read how Christ went about his business. Read how Christ went about his business. Exactly, Dan. Bro, at the end of the day, bro, we're human beings. Like, there's a certain approach. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one wants to be annoyed. No one wants to be bothered, or like you said, badgered by anything. The minute you badger me with something, I automatically don't want to know. Move from me. Don't chat to me. I don't want to hear it. Just move. Leave me alone. I don't care what it is. At that point, you've lost me. The point where you've bothered me, you're pushing something against me. I don't even know you. I don't know you. Allow it. One thing my pastor did was he went out with his he's a twin. His twin's in America, but he visited the UK. They went out and they put like a board up that simply said, if you want to hear from God, or if you want to encounter Christ, we're here. And that's it. They just chilled. They stick back. And people were coming. Those who actually wanted to know more, who were curious, came to them. And they were prophesied to, they were healed, all of the things. But no one was shouting. No one was bothering anyone. No one was being bothered. Those who it was for approached them. Now, I'm sure those same people, if they were sat there screaming, wouldn't have approached them. Those who actually needed Christ wouldn't have approached them for that, because of their approach. So, and the bad thing is, God will judge us for it. It's very, very scary when the Bible says that there will be people who in front of God, they'll say to God, but God, we prophesied in your name, we healed in your name, we delivered in your name. And God will say, I knew you not, you worker of iniquity. What? Do you know how scary and crazy that is? That you can spend your life doing something and you think, yeah, I'm doing God's work. And God will say to you, I didn't know you. You do it, you worker of evil. Iniquity is evil. You did evil. Just like, nah, it's mad. It's mad. People don't know how serious it is, like how necessary it is to actually be with God, meditate, pray, hear from him. If it's just you talking, you're not communicating, you're venting. Hear from God, man. God talks. Depart, bro. Imagine you spent your life doing what you thought was the work of God. He says to you, depart from me. I never knew, bro. I never knew you. The best example my father and the Lord uses regarding Christians is Martha and Mary. Martha was around when Jesus would be around. Martha's doing the most, cleaning, cooking, like just doing the most. Oh, Jesus is here, like we need to do this and that and that. Mary would sit at his feet and just listen to him, just be with him. And that's the best analogy for Christians. There's so much Christians that just do too much. They don't know God, but they're doing too much for him. You're doing too much for someone you don't know. You don't know what he wants from you. You're assuming God wants X, Y, and Z from you. Meanwhile, you could just sit and meditate, sit in his presence, and just listen to him. He will talk. He talks to you. Let peace reign in your heart. Let quietness come down upon you, and let him talk to you, and you'll know what he wants. He'll share his heart with you. That's what God does. He can sit and be your friend, be a real father to you, spend quality time with you. Those experiences that I've had with him, undefeated. They meant more to me and they left a longer lasting impact than praying super hard, speaking in tongues, fasting. Those times of quietness with God. And if people did that and were in unity with Him, half the Earth's population would be in Christ. Tim, as long as you know you're being backed by the Word and by the Holy Spirit, you're if you're not in Him, or if you call yourself a Christian but you're not actually walking with Christ, hearing about Him is going to bother you. So you can speak to people and there'll be a certain reaction, a certain like, oh, I'm good, like I know what I'm meant to be doing, you know, kind of thing, that dismissive. That's why I just say it's so important to just lead with love, lead with peace. The Bible says seek peace with all men. Doesn't matter whether Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, seek peace with all men. That love is the number one thing on God's list. He is love. So if you're not walking with love, you're not walking with Him. Period. That's a lesson to me as well, as I'm saying it. But yeah, gonna leave it there. It's been great. Thank you very much for hanging around for some Nürnberg Ingolstadt content, and a beautiful discussion, I think. What I wanted to add kind of ties in to what you talked about, someone else's opinion. If you've got an opinion of yourself, such as I told you, can't say anything. Sometimes the best thing you can do isn't prove them people wrong, proving yourself right, proving right people who believed in you. That's it, man. That's it, period. I look naked when my shirt falls off. I will not confirm or deny whether I am. Just know I ain't going to be standing up anytime soon. Right. Courtesy of Dan. Gonna set up a little raid. Yeah, we'll be back. Tomorrow is the day. Dovetail Direct. Share the word. Request the route. So come with your requests from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Dovetail Direct starts. And maybe there'll be something else. I'm gonna let Dovetail do whatever they're gonna do, but maybe things might change around before we get to the Dovetail Direct. Regardless, everything that's happening will be on stream. Then we'll watch Dovetail Direct together. We'll react to it live, and then have a discussion about what will be seen, what I may already have seen. Love it, Ambassador. But yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But yeah, I'll see you guys then. I hope you have a lovely evening. Enjoy Bloody Random's content. Thank you again, Dan, for the recommendation. Appreciate you, man. I know it's going to be good. Yeah. Show us some love. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Till then, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Yeah, no, it's a familiar name, Dan. Very familiar name. Very familiar name. Stay safe. Health is wealth. And until the next time, absolute pleasure, Tim. Thank you for asking. My story to the glory of God. Absolutely. And if you are watching and you're in a place of you don't really know what's going on in your life, you don't really feel like there's much purpose to your life, you don't really feel like there's much point in life, God is there. God is there. But yeah, the raid's taking place. So if you are on YouTube, appreciate you. Have a lovely night. See you tomorrow. Stay safe. Peace out.